energy of someone is I guess I've been thinking I'm dealing with one person in my life that like they present themselves or they believe they present themselves as one thing, right? And but what I want to converse to them is be like, look, your energy is heavy, dude. It is heavy and it's a little chaotic and it's a little uncertain. So like and then it makes me feel a little sad because when I'm around this individual, I don't think they always want to be presented as that way, but it's tough to watch them stand there sometimes and be like, there's just so much you need to unpack, and I think your energy will be a little bit lighter. But the reason was because someone we were talking about if people like you or not. I think people like you because you just kind of have that good, smiley, like nice aura around you, and you're like, oh man, this guy's a nice guy. Like when people ask, like Brian's, like who's playing music tonight, I say, Brian Lattanzi playing. They go, oh, that guy's nice. Yeah, that's yeah.
Remember me even?
Absolutely.
That's so cool.
Yeah, especially the regulars. I mean, the regulars know anyone because there's certain people, I'm going to bring back once a month or whatnot.
Yeah.
You, this band, Mike and Laura, Boone to Shark. I don't know. Do you know any of these names?
Mike and Laura sounds really familiar.
I like them because they play a lot of like this country folk at times. But then Boone to Shark's just really uplifting and fun. Who else? There's someone. Dude, I got to give a shout out to Colin Colleen, bro. He is dude. He works for us. Dude, he played on Thanksgiving Eve. And I've heard him play before, but dude, this one was so good, dude. He was playing like some Fish and some Grateful Dead, and he just had like this passion while he was playing. He crushed it, bro. I texted him in the morning, and like, I was just like, dude, you crushed it. It was amazing. Yeah.
I will say some of those, some of the staff that works there, we had a night recently where I had there's this young musician that I met recently because I called him in last minute for a show. And he was really vibing with everybody there in sort of like the off moments when I was playing and I didn't really need him to be a part of the song. And we ended up going outside because he struck it up with a couple of the kids. And there were a few like really talented musicians.
Are they playing on the porch?
Yeah, that were playing on the porch with us. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. They were playing weird songs, not weird songs, but just music that you wouldn't think like Gen Z would love. Like Fish doesn't feel like a super Gen Z.
Absolutely not.
You know what I mean? So like hearing it was kind of like, that was kind of cool, you know?
Dude, it is cool. They will bring their guitars, and there's another girl there. Her name's Olivia, and she sings. And they'll sit on that porch together and just play music, and it's like their buddies will sit out there. And at first, when they first started doing it, I was like, oh, maybe this is a noise problem. But then I was like, I don't fucking care. They're enjoying themselves, and they sound good. And now people come in and get a drink and walk out there and sit with them while they're playing.
Yeah.
And then you get like all of a sudden this one woman walked out there recently, and she's got a fucking voice.
Really?
Crushing it. And all of a sudden I'm like looking out there and she's like singing Janis Joplin with them. And I was like, damn, this is so much fun to watch them do it. And I get a little jealous because I can't do that. Can't sing or play the guitar like that.
Well, I mean, I think you could. And I think it's sort of like a lost, I get what you're saying, but like sort of like this lost art to just like letting music be like fun. Not having to sound perfect. It's something I've been thinking about a lot lately is like, you should feel so galvanized to jump in and sing, even if you know that you're not a technically amazing singer or whatever's holding you back. I think there's like not enough of that, honestly, anymore. And it kind of makes like live music a little less fun too. I'm not saying like I want someone to jump up and take the mic from me when I'm playing, but I just posted about it in reference to AI on my Instagram, like a little kind of, I never really do this, but like a little like paragraph where I was talking about how like music should be imperfect. You should be able to hear that someone made it. You should be able to hear that someone messed up while they were playing it in the studio sometimes. Like that's what makes it good. And with live music, I found like when you're not getting paid to be there, because I've busked Like I've played outside a lot. Usually don't care, like most people don't care. Someone does come up and want to sing with me, because that happens a lot when you're just outside, like not playing at a restaurant. I'm always like, absolutely, please come up here and sing your favorite song if you know it, because that's what it should be. Like it doesn't always need to sound good. It's a vibe thing. It's like an energy thing, you know. So
But that's true. I mean, if you go back, like musicians today are way different than I feel like musicians were in the 60s and 70s, right? Like you go back and you listen to some of the superstars, not great voices in a lot of them. Not great.
I think honestly, I my favorite era of music is the '90s, and I feel like we're even so different from the '90s when you listen to music today. And not to be like unk or anything about it, but I listen to music today and I just think to myself it's so overproduced, almost all of it.
Yeah, but they are producing perfect singers, right? And these kids come up. It's the same thing with sports today. There is an ability to be, maybe groom's the wrong word, but like groomed to be this perfect singer. They're taking voice lessons, right? And then this like amazing athlete. You can start training while you're in 7th grade and in high school to be able to be these amazing athletes as well. So where back then I feel like, because I was talking about someone recently, I was like, dude, I wish I could sing. Who was I talking about it with? I forget. But where some people are absolutely just born with an angelic voice, right? And then there's others where they have to kind of train themselves, right?
I think the second one is a lot better. I think you can always tell when you can always tell when a singer has like grown up in an environment that was like the best physical environment for them to be a good singer. And I'm talking about myself here and trying not to self-aggrandize, because like I don't think that I'm a great singer, but my favorite singers, like my heroes in music, are the ones who, if they went on American Idol today, they would get absolutely crapped on like the entire time. Like Kurt Cobain, if he went on, he's not necessarily, yeah, if he went on American Idol, they would hate him. They just would. Like they, you know what I mean?
Doesn't fit the American Idol vibe. And right, that's American Idol is kind of a problem to what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Because they want to have the best voice, but that is the product that they're trying to push, right? But I love Kurt Cobain. Nirvana is my favorite grunge band of the 90s. 100%. I love them.
You want to know what mine is?
Can I guess?
Go ahead.
Can I have a hint?
Um,
Is it known or unknown?
Super unknown.
Oh, then maybe I won't know it.
No, they're known, but the super unknown was a hint. They're actually a huge, very well known grunge band.
Like, it's not like STP or Stone Temple Pilots?
It's you're close. It's Soundgarden, and yeah,
I mean,
and they have an album.
Cornell, right?
Yeah,
So Chris Cornell is his voice is incredible, but at the same time, it's I don't. Do you think he would do well on American Idol?
I think he would. I think he would do well. I don't know if he'd win American Idol, and part of it is because American Idol, I think, has always pushed a genre. Like I don't think a whole lot of grunge or like very alternative sounding rock has come out of American Idol, because it just kind of can't. Like that's not the covers that they look for, as far as I know, when they, are sort of sitting around at whatever round table they have, and they're kind of deciding like, what kind of music do we, because it's a reality show. Like nobody actually comes up and is like, this is the song I want to play, and picks something super niche and cool, and they're like, yeah, for sure. It's all like sort of a mix of like the people who run the show and then the artists, right? So like I feel like there's a lot of people who their creativity is best served through the lens of sounds that are weird and strange. Like here's a great one. I don't think Tom York from Radiohead would do well on American Idol.
I'm not a Radiohead fan.
That's fair. That's fine. But I love the sound of like vintage Radiohead music, and his voice is so imperfect and stuttery. Billy Corgan, another great example. Do you like Smashing Pumpkins?
I like some Smashing Pumpkins.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm a Smashing Pumpkins fan, but there's a handful of songs that I like.
When people, so the Smashing Pumpkins are one of my favorite bands of all time. Say that Billy Corgan's voice is sort of like the litmus test immediately for whether or not I'm going to enjoy a Smashing Pumpkins song. But Um, he has one of the weirdest voices I've ever heard. He sounds so strange on every single song that the Smashing Pumpkins has released. But it works though. And I think the reason why it works is you want to like have control. I think is the point of music for me. Like when you perform, it's not necessarily that you want to have the perfect tone that a music teacher would show you to have, or at least for me, I can't because I've never had lessons like that and I started playing music out of necessity. I think the point is to have control over what notes you're hitting, where your voice is going, and
And that's just something you've learned.
that's just something I've had to learn basically. Like when I scream out a part of a song that I've written that's like written for the vocals to be like screamy, it's like I have had to look up like how do I yell and not like blow out my vocal cords over a song because that's a hard thing to do. But at the end of the day, like mostly, yeah, like I've had to teach myself, and most of those guys had to teach themselves too. Like Kurt Cobain didn't have a vocal instructor, and when he did, he like laughed off having a.
Yeah, but I've heard the theories that he would like put hairspray in the back of his throat so he could like scream a little louder.
They were built different back then. They were weird.
Jumping to Chris Cornell again, though, real quick. Like a Stone. I know it's an Audio Slave song, but Like a Stone. I mean, that's a song that would, if someone did Like a Stone on American Idol, they could crush it. And there always is that special moment when someone does. I think it's one of the more special moments on a show like that when someone can do a 90s grudge song and like crush it on there, right? Because you're like, ooh, they're doing, In Bloom on fucking on American Idol right now. That's not the song that you should be choosing, but then they nail it, and you're like, oh wow.
Yeah.
So, but then, what do you think? Is Soundgarden your favorite '90s band? Favorite '90s grunge?
Probably my favorite '90s grudge, and honestly, it changes all the time. I mean, I like a lot of bands, and I always find I'm listening to a lot of music. So, like right now in my life, especially, I'm finding a lot of new artists. I really like Toad the Wet Sprocket.
Well, what about '90s though? Favorite '90s band overall?
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, that's like, Toad the what? That's a '90s band?
Yeah, Toad the Wet Sprocket.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to write that down.
So, well, they're not necessarily my favorite, but I definitely have been vibing with them a lot. The Lemonheads, been vibing with them a lot. They're great. Third Eye Blind, very commercial, but great musicians. Yeah.
They're like 20-year anniversary of whatever the main album was. But
self-titled Third Eye Blind, probably, unless it was Blue or something. Yeah, they sound great. That's honestly, I mean, Third Eye Blind is another example of a lead singer who has just a very unique voice and a very unique vocal style. I think if you met that guy on the street, like Asbury Park or something, or like I don't know, if you met him at a Wawa, you'd be like, oh, the guy has an accent, like he lives somewhere like California, but that's a normal sounding voice to me.
See, I'd go my favorite. This is tough. It's between two bands. One, and it's just I love this band, and they're well known, of course, now, but Sublime is probably my favorite '90s band. I can listen to Sublime, 40 Ounces of Freedom, and self-titled Robin the Hood just over and over and over again. I'll never get sick of those songs. I never have, and I never will. I don't know why, but my probably favorite '90s band of all time is Weezer. Now I can tell you why. Because Maladroit, Pinkerton, Green Album, Blue Album, at least 85% of those songs I think are all fantastic on every album.
I mean, yeah, I mess with it. I love Weezer. I absolutely love Weezer. Weezer was, I think, they were a long-lasting band. Like, they had a pretty good tenure. Like, starting as early as they did and as young as they did and still being out touring. And their most recent album, I can't even remember what it was, but it was very good. I did listen to the most recent album, like with the. It was very good. Weezer's great. What was the other one you said? So they're very juxtaposed though. Sublime and Weezer.
Ska versus like, I don't know, like nerd rock.
They're like goofy. I mean, they're real. I guess they're alternative. I guess they're technically alternative. Like, I mean, yeah, Weezer's great. I would.
Sublime's a voice that, like, Bradley Knowles' voice is not one that you're gonna hold up against, somebody else's.
Yeah. I think that's why I think American Idol and like those shows, like, kind of a meme. Like when you're a musician, people will, and it's a nice compliment when people do this. But people will sometimes come up to you and be like, "You should go on American Idol." You'll explain, like, they'll be like, "Do you have a?" To me, people will be like, "Do you have a Spotify? Do you have this and that?" And I'm not very good at the social media game. I'm trying to get there, and I'm working on releasing some more music as soon as possible. But people will go, "You should go on American Idol. That's a quick way to like get your name out there, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but there's a very good chance that I sing a song well and it isn't like what they're looking for." And there's a very good chance that, and I say that to any of my friends too. I have musician friends who talk about going on American Idol, have great voices. And the only one who I kind of am on to go is a country artist, because I just feel like American Idol loves country and they love pop.
America loves country.
Yeah. America in general loves country music.
I think it is the number one genre in America.
Yeah. I think it goes back and forth between country and hip hop constantly. But it's there for
Now hip hop's gone country.
right.
So, which I don't love. I'm a huge country fan, gigantic country fan. But I'm not the country fan that, like, my country artists are Sturgill Simpson, Tyler Childers, Jamie Johnson.
So you like good country though?
Yeah, well, what I consider good country, but at the same time, though, like, I don't discriminate. Like, I will listen to some Luke Bryan.
Mm-hmm.
I will listen to. I'm not really a big Morgan Wallen fan, but there is songs out there that, if it's a good song, it's a good song. But that goes across the board for music, because, like, this one is, I think my little sister and I get along on music when it comes to, I'm not just going to dislike a Taylor Swift or dislike it. Like, I love Dua Lipa. Do you know who Dua Lipa is?
Yeah.
Most attractive human being on the planet, by the way. But love her songs. I'll listen to Sabrina Carpenter. I'll listen to her songs. Like, there's good songs that they make. And so when it comes to country, it's like, I'm a big outlaw country guy. So, like, Waylon Jennings is my favorite. David Allan Coe, like Hank Williams Jr. I love Hank the Third. Do you ever listen to Hank the Third?
Yeah.
Love Hank the Third, dude. So, like, I'm going to listen to that kind of stuff. My favorite right now is probably Sierra Farrell. My God. Sierra Farrell is this folk western, more follows like a Tyler Childers, where, like, I think he's in a league of his own. He's got, like, this Appalachia style, right? So he's not, I wouldn't really even consider him country. He's more like this folky mountain Appalachia.
I think I have a hot take for you, but it's speaking to what you just, this whole kind of part of the conversation we just had. I think that country not sound like what country sounds like today. I think that country at its roots sounds a lot more like Tyler Childers. I don't know how to say his last name. It sounds a lot more like Tyler Childers than it does like Luke Bryan. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I feel like when I tell people I play like punk rock music and grunge rock and stuff, they expect me to be like, oh, I can't stand country or pop. It's like farts in the wind, and to try and be all cool about it. I love me a good pop song and a good country song. It's just that modern country to me sounds so much more like pop with an accent than it does the stuff that like Merle Haggard and Johnny Cash were making that actually resonates with me, that Tyler Childers makes, and sometimes Zach Bryan, even though he's pretty pop to my taste.
I don't like Zach Bryan either, really. But there is a couple songs that I go, oh, that's a good one. Like, I do like a couple of his songs.
You know what I think it is? I think it harkens back to something you said earlier, where everything is, if you have money, everything is well produced now. So if you have enough money to go into a studio and you have a decent idea, you probably can't walk out of a studio with a poorly, like a really poorly mixed song, if that makes sense. So with a lot of these pop artists and these country artists now, like, what I've always listened for in music and what's helped me as just a person, like an enjoyer of music, which I've been for way more of my life than I have been a performer, is listening to the lyrics and trying to and feeling what the music is projecting. And with a lot of like modern country and modern pop music, it sounds cool, but it all kind of projects the same energy to me of like, I want to listen to this when I'm dancing or feeling really good, or like out somewhere where I need something to play that can be upbeat, but I don't really need to think about what it's saying, kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So like I love Sabrina Carpenter for the purposes of like she's a great singer, she's a great performer.
Voice is great.
Everything that she puts out sounds good, but my sort of like barrier to entry, I guess, for saying those are my favorite genres is that they don't really apply to me. They don't really apply to my life experience. And I think that's a really important reason for you to even listen to music in the first place is like you're trying to find stuff that applies to your experience, that helps you grow, that helps you feel better about your life, or even sometimes helps you feel worse about your life, but in a way that is productive. Because I think that's a thing too with music, you know, like it doesn't move me so much. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. That just means it's not for me, is kind of how I see it.
Yeah, it's no. I mean, saying that like there's songs I'll put on and I'll go, dang, this is it. And then I try to even will listen to them to try to trigger that feeling, and I go, why did I even like that song that much? And then later on, maybe weeks or months down the line, I'll listen to it again, and that same feeling comes back, and I go, oh, music's for a moment, you know?
Can I tell you such a beautiful moment I had this morning that is exactly this?
Yeah.
So I was in my car driving here, and I had recently, like within the last 2 days, I went to the record store and I bought a couple CDs. And I threw in this CD by Swing Out Sister is the name of the band. I'd never heard of them before. I just thought the album art looked cool. It was very like 90s aesthetic, like very bare bones and minimalistic. I threw it in and I'm vibing with it. It's not was expecting, you know, it wasn't like rock. It was very like avant-garde sounding. 3 comes on. Hear this riff, and it immediately struck the back of my brain, like this part of my brain that I haven't used since I was like 10. I heard this song once when I was watching the Lindsay Lohan Parent Trap in like the early 2000s on VHS with my sister.
Brought back that memory?
And it brought back that memory, dude. Like, I heard it and I audibly went, whoa, like that. Because what are the odds that like you find that song that you even like it's not my genre, but I listen to it all the way through because that's how I listen to music is like the full album. I feel like that's the only way to do it. And I get to this song and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like 10 years old again in the basement eating like cheeseburger flavored Doritos, and I'm with my sister and her friend and we're watching The Parent Trap. Like that's crazy. That's such a valid and like cherished sort of response to music, I think, that is you don't really get from that's why I don't like certain genres, or not don't like them, but don't listen to them so much, is that I think they're made for now, and like maybe in like 15, 20 years, like people will feel about those songs the way that I feel about the music that I like. But
I mean, that's a good point. It's kind of like music. Music is like made to come and go now, in a way. Like it's made for like the summer, or it's made to like not going back and listening to those songs because I love the lyrics of it or it made me feel a certain way. I'm kind of listening to some of those, like a Sabrina Carpenter or thing like that. If I just, since we're using her as an example, because it's like right in that moment, I can kind of listen to her. But like, it's not the same for if I go back and listen to Sublime.
I think now, like with Sabrina Carpenter, and I'm not hating on her. I promise, I love Sabrina Carpenter. She's from yeah.
And I moved to Norristown.
Yeah. Seems like a lovely human being, by the way.
Yeah.
As well. But like 3 years ago, I feel like it was Espresso. Now nobody talks about Espresso. You never hear it
I
play.
think it was 2 years ago. Yeah. Now it's Manchild, I think.
Yeah.
That's her newer one.
Manchild or Juno, whichever one, I don't know. Yeah. But and I agree with you. I think that we live. It really like made me feel kind of sad recently was that MTV was canceled officially, and not because I cared that much about any of the shows, really, like the reality TV or anything. I did really like Jackass and Viva La Bam and Ridiculousness and stuff and Nitro Circus, but what made me really sad was that I feel like something like MTV has a place in the world, and I think that it kind of signals the end of making music to be listened to as an experience, like in a full album. We kind of live in this world now where everything's built around a single, kind of. Like, even when you write an album, I feel like it's built around like that single that's going to be catchy and that's going to be like the song of the summer or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And that makes me feel kind of not so much like sad, but there's like a melancholy about it. Like, I love listening to an album and getting the full story. Like, just,
Yeah, well, we don't do that anymore, like at all. But I feel like that's where music today is made for. Like, it's almost like it's a consumer nation of music, where we're supposed to, like, they're making money off these artists, and that's what, like, what you're saying. You put someone like a Sabrina Carpenter in a studio, like, they're gonna make sure this is a hit, right? Where, like, I feel like even back on MTV in like late 90s, early 2000s, like, you were getting some grunge, you were getting some stuff that like was able to hit the mainstream that doesn't hit the mainstream anymore.
yeah. And there was a lot more precedent to have a really engaging music video, because people weren't going to be able to just watch the music video on TikTok or some kind of short form format where they like pick out the best part of the music video and they're like, this is the part that's actually interesting and the rest of it is whatever. You know what I mean? Or like they play like the rewinding boomerang version of your music video behind the song while you're listening to it on Spotify. It's like, I think you want to know the reason why I started listening to music? I remember it vividly, like why I started actively listening to music. I was 9 years old, and uh, Henry Rollins from Black Flag came on he wasn't on MTV, it was a rerun or something, but I saw a clip from him on MTV. Trying to explain how to handle vinyl, and then he goes into this spiel about like not enough of us listen to our parents' music anymore. We're afraid to be weird now. We're afraid to like listen to weird music and to be seen as weird because we like music that sounds weird and it just doesn't feel cool, kind of thing. And he was like, go and listen to artists like King Sunny Ade, and like he named a couple artists that I immediately went and listened to that were like super strange genres. I also listened to Black Flag after that because I didn't even really know who he was. One of them was like African like rhythm music. Black Flag itself is like they have a spoken word album called Family Man that I bought on vinyl because I loved it so much, even though it was super weird. I started listening to as a kid. I never really listened to music that was popular because sentient in like the mid 2000s. A lot of what I heard on the radio and stuff was like Monster by Eminem, like pop kind of hip hop stuff and like all the super popular music, and I didn't really think there was a whole lot of music for me. So like I would listen to like my sister's old iPod and be like, "Oh, this is cool, but I can't talk to my friends about it. I must be weird."
Oh my god.
Avoided music. Like I kind of avoided listening to the music that I like because I was like, nobody's gonna like care that I listen to this. Like it's not cool, and I already am having enough trouble with like making friends as a kid. So, but that MTV interview like changed me. I don't know why. I saw it and I saw him as so cool and punk, and I was like, okay, I will listen to weird music. Went right downstairs. I got a bunch of my parents' old CDs and some of their vinyl, and I threw it on. I loved it. You know,
That's It's hard to like think back when I started listening to music because my parents were never big into music. Like, wasn't really on in the car or anything, and I still think about that to this day. But it was some like my dad was a Bob Dylan fan and a Beatles fan, and then my mother would listen to like Billy Joel and things like that. But I remember certain bands that I first heard that I went, whoa. And one of them, I'm sitting in the house. I was like 20 years old in St. Augustine, Florida. I think it was 20. And I go to the neighbor's house, and he's got a record player, and he puts a record on. There's like 30 people at this house, and Beastie Boys' Sabotage comes on. And I knew the Beastie Boys as Brass Monkey, Paul Revere, like those songs, right? I didn't know that the Beastie Boys at that time were a rock band before they did more of their later albums, like that whole, whatever that album is, I forget. But I heard Sabotage and was just like, who is this, dude? And they're like, it's the Beastie Boys. I was like, this isn't the Beastie Boys I know. And it blew me away. And then I just get that album and I listen to the whole thing. But then I don't know. There's one genre of music that people tilt their head at me when I say that I absolutely love, and I listen to it probably, especially in the last like couple of years, more than most. And it's I love Latin and like reggaeton. So like one reggaeton one because I'm exercising, I'm gonna listen. You know that it is that beat, right? You're getting it. But then I also love like the classic Latin. Yeah, have you heard You know Rosalia?
No.
You don't know who Rosalia is?
No.
Okay. Well, her whole new album is like
She knew?
no, she's like 33 years old. She's been around for a while, but
I feel like my buddy who is Spanish listens to her and mentioned her to me.
she's incredible. She has like a lot of this like reggaeton and poppy Latin, but then she also has this whole album Melamente, which is like this not the whole album is like this, but it's a lot of like this classic like Latin, and then her whole album she just released like 4 weeks ago is like opera. Yeah, it's so like I don't know what she's saying though. That's a problem. Like my goal for 2026 is to learn Spanish.
But sometimes you don't even need to.
That's why she's so good.
Yeah. You
But
must be real excited for the Super Bowl, huh?
with Bad Bunny, see that's the thing. People get upset about that. Like I like Bad Bunny though. I'm a Bad Bunny fan. But also I like him because some people listen to some of his songs and they go he's maybe reggaeton, right? Because he does have some of that, but he's also this like classic like Puerto Rican music, right?
Yeah.
It is not. He's not in the same category as like that where they're like very poppy and uppy, very reggaeton, strict reggaeton.
Yeah.
Where he's also has this like very classic Puerto Rican style. So if you talk to a Puerto Rican about it, they're like, no, no, no. Bad Bunny is this island Puerto Rican music. It's not reggaeton.
But that's one of the beautiful things about music, though, is that you don't have to understand it to get it. I think that, and that sort of is the thing with pop music. A lot of it is like if you listen to just an instrumental track of like any Luke Bryan song, you'll probably find some that hit you that you're like, oh, that's cool, but designed for the delivery of the performer, like that, like. I see a lot of those artists more as like really great performers than they are like artists. Like Rihanna doesn't write a single one of her songs, but she's like a great performer.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, I go on tangents. I go on weird tangents. I'm sorry.
No, no. Like, but back to Bad Bunny. Like, I don't think people understand what Bad Bunny's gonna do at the Super Bowl. I think he's gonna come out with Bad Bunny, where I think other people may think that he's gonna be this reggaeton artist, and maybe I'm wrong. But if he comes out with, he's got a few songs, EO and DTMF and Tite Me Pregunta, like songs like that he could come out with those, and those are like a little bit more poppy and upbeat. But I also think that a couple of the songs he's going to sing are going to be Bad Bunny, like his songs, which are a lot more like slower.
Yeah.
And so it's not going to be what people think. So I'm not sure what but he is the number one artist in the world right now, I think.
Yeah.
It's definitely on Spotify, yeah, yeah, and he's definitely. But I think what pisses people off is that he's not. It's an American sport. Let's put an American in there, but also he does have a very feminine side to him, and he'll get in dresses and things like that. So people get pissed.
There's unfortunately, a whole political thing about it, and I don't want to get into it, but like, it saddens me too that like, I don't know. I mean, that's sort of what music is about anyway, right? It's about being not cool, like not necessarily not cool, but I think Bad Bunny's pretty. His vibe is that he wants to be cool, but like it's about being sort of like music is about like a gradient. When I think as an artist or a performer, someone who's trying to send a message, like so for him, I feel like that's probably a really good place to be in. Like I hope that the way that he utilizes and galvanizes sort of like the negative energy around his music is by coming in and just authentically doing whatever it is that Bad Bunny does when he performs it.
Absolutely what he should do. Just do whatever he's going to do, and that's what's supposed to be done.
People are probably going to be upset about it either way, but there's also going to be a lot of people probably who feel less negative feelings about the situation after he's done with it because he's just a guy who came up and played music, and like Harry Styles, there's a long history of people.
I like some Harry Styles though, bro. Yeah.
He wears dresses?
Yeah, he gets.
Kurt Cobain wore dresses, you know. And again, it's all a matter of opposition. I think it's really hard to be a musician who's in opposition of.
Bro, go back and look at like Kiss, and look at some of those bands that dressed in some crazy ways. Like I don't know. I'm not a musician at that level or anything. Like I can play the piano a bit, but like I know, but like I don't know they're what they're thinking. But at the same time, I mean, it's who they are, and they're just. I'm not gonna stop them from doing it.
You know what I think the the idea is when people do that, because you know the first one that hit me that was like a person in costume who was doing music that I was opposed to at first was Marilyn Manson.
I'm a huge Manson fan now.
I am too.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, the music was kind of, it was almost the same vibe as like a Danny Elfman soundtrack. It was like, I'm enjoying this, but it's scaring me a little bit, you know? Like when you listen to like the soundtrack of Nightmare Before Christmas or Beetlejuice, it's like, I like this and I don't know why I like it, but I'm very uncomfortable right now. Yeah. And Marilyn Manson felt like that to me. As I got older, the way that I perceived like Kiss and these costumes is that sometimes there's like a cultural thing behind it, and sometimes there's like a history to the type of makeup, but a lot of the time I feel like people wear costumes for two reasons when they play music. One, that you dissociate the music from that person. And even in today's landscape of social media, I think that's a relatively good idea. Like, there's a lot of people who've made mistakes, done bad things in their lives, and they don't want to be seen as that person who they might not be anymore, or they might not like anymore, and have that reflect on the music they're making about those changes or something. And then there's the other part, which is way less deep, and it's that I think they just think it looks cool.
Yeah.
You know?
I think Manson's always been kind of. I mean, it's, there's some crazy stuff around Manson though.
Yeah.
Like Rachel Lee Wood, he dated her, and the stories that she came out, that he used to like keep her like chained to the end of the bed and like stuff like that, which is like, God damn it, dude, I liked you, bro. Now I'm not supposed to, because I love a lot of his songs.
It's unfortunate because I feel like well, it's unfortunate for a lot of reasons. But as a listener, it's unfortunate when you feel like someone is like making good choices. Like I think it is a good choice to, and a rebellious choice to be like, don't look at me, look at this character I've created. I don't want the accolades of making music. If you like it, I just want you to enjoy it. Like, you like that choice, right? And then people go and make decisions in their personal lives that are like kind of disgusting and gross and make you freaked out about it. It's always unfortunate as a listener when that happens. And it's still hard to kind of separate the person from the music even in that way.
One huge example, but also like that's like a Rob Zombie. Like I love Rob Zombie. I love White Zombie, stuff like that. And then he makes these crazy horror movies and whatnot. And I've never heard of him being like a bad person or anything, but that's one person who I've watched in interviews and I go, he's not this crazy guy who performs the way that he does, that he shows in these movies and these songs.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people are. I think I've I've been around a lot of, so growing up, I grew up in a very Christian household, and the sort of macabre and the scary and the horror gore stuff was never something I was into or was like raised to enjoy. I love horror movies now though, and I do, but I only certain kinds. I still am not a fan of gore. I think it's egregious, like a lot of it. But what I will say is that I think a lot of people who project that horror kind of mysterious, like dark side of themselves, I think they're actually like that. I think that a lot of people who I've met who project that and who are fascinated with that kind of thing, people who use it to kind of like escape their normal life. Like, it's a weird psychological thing, but I feel like when I'm watching a horror movie sometimes, I sort of pin it against my problems and the things that I face in the real world. And there's almost this cathartic sense of like, well, at least I'm not getting chased down by a crazy, like, psychopathic killer wearing a hockey mask. You know what I mean? Who can't die. Like, that sounds kind of trivial, but I mean, we do that with other stuff too, throughout all of our lives. Like, we kind of listen to or watch art and we create sort of this gradient to paint against the color of our lives. And I think that's what it is for like that horror stuff. I think that like you get guys like a Marilyn Manson who isn't in makeup all the time, and when he's not, he looks like a relatively normal dude. You get the Kiss guys who were very normal looking dudes outside of their makeup. I think they do that macabre stuff in order to create the art that people can then pin on the board of their lives and sort of take notes and compare. Like you feel good in a weird way. Watching it, being scared in the moment, you know, watching like something that really frightens you. Sharing in that experience with people, like watching it with others kind of gives you all this feeling of like how funny is it that we were scared together. You know, it very much is you get that feeling in music all the time. Like how cool is it that we just felt this positive or negative feeling or a nostalgic feeling or this melancholy, you know, together. Like it's a weird feeling to feel together, but we felt it together, and that's cool.
Can you think of a song that's? Can you like go back and think of a song that made you feel that one way? Alone or with someone? Because there's certain songs I can't listen to anymore because I associate them with someone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like an ex or something like that. Like there's a Waylon Jennings song, "Loving Her Was Easier," and it used to be one of my favorite Waylon Jennings songs. Like "Loving Her Was Easier Than Anything I'll Ever Do Again." And in my, do you know what that song's about? It's like him singing about basically he was not with this human being anymore. He's not dating this person anymore. And he writes this song because he goes, I didn't realize it, but loving you is actually the easiest thing I think I'll ever do in my entire life. But now we're not together anymore. And I can't do it. But I used to love listening to that with my ex. And then now I don't date this person anymore. And now I went, wow, was that just the whole time listening to that song? Was it telling me that I was not going to actually ever be with you forever? And I didn't realize in the moment that maybe loving her was the easiest thing I'll ever do.
Yeah.
And so I can't listen to it anymore.
Yeah, I can think of a song. When I was in college, my ex and I broke up, and I was really sad. I really, really liked this person. I thought she was, and I still, you know, think she's a fantastic human being. And broken up with someone and not liked them after. I feel like that's a movie trope. I feel like people kind of make that up. Like, I think that most couples break up because they just disagree on something or just it's not going to work out and they know it. And they kind of create fights a lot of the time because it's easy to do that. Like, it's easier to do that than like the nuance of like, I'm still always going to be there for you and regardless. Anyway, broke up and I was really bent up about it. And I was sitting in uh, my buddy's dorm room. We were hanging out, just talking. He was going through a rough time with his girlfriend, and they eventually broke up. And we were listening to music, and we just kind of sat in silence when we noticed a song was playing that was like kind of cool. It was "If Tomorrow Wasn't Such a Long Time" by Bob Dylan. It's like a weird kind of Bob Dylan,
I
like
think I know it. I love Bob Dylan.
it's a great song, and we just kind of sat there and listened to it and in silence and each other anything. My buddy was kind of facing the wall. He had been like doing homework while I was like on the bed also working on like studying or something. He turned around and he like had a tear in his eye, and I'm sure I had tears in my eyes too, because it was just like a shared moment of like being sad together and like a very like it spoke through the music. Like, it's cool that we're here with each other right now, here for each other, like in that way, like, and that the music is here for us, and that Bob Dylan, I guess, felt this feeling at one point. Like,
There's a Dylan song that I struggle listening to a little bit. And it's "A Girl from the North Country," and I love that song. So it's one of my favorite Bob Dylan songs. But it reminds me of another ex, and so um, it was when I only listened to like How I Feeling after I broke up with her, and she was another one. And I just felt like he painted the picture of her at that time, and it's a struggle to listen to it now to this day, even though I still love that one. So like I can still listen to that one, but it's weird how we like there's songs that I kind of wish they didn't just come across the radio at the time that of my life because now I can't listen to them
yeah,
because that's what happened. Like it's not like I chose to put that one on. It's just that was the one playing, and it just was there for me to feel. Maybe I was supposed to feel that way.
And I think you were, honestly. Like, I think for sure music is designed to be there for you. I think we lose that a lot these days in art, that it should be designed like for everyone but the artist. And know that it's as deep, or that musicians are as heroic as sitting around thinking like, oh, this song is going to play while someone's going through something tough. That's going to help them or be connected to that moment somehow. But I definitely think that like we all deserve to feel music in that way, and that's how it's just part of how music and how art is. Like, we always are going to associate moments in our lives with music and with movies and with the art that's around us at the time, and the things, like the colors we see, the landscapes that we see, like there's always going to be stuff associated with it. It's hard. Like, there are a lot of songs definitely that happened, I guess you could either say at the wrong time or the right time, right? Like songs that you associate with moments without even necessarily even knowing what the lyrics are saying sometimes. Is like the function of music. Like, I think that is the function of it. It's like comes on in a car when you're driving home and you're just having thoughts about something, and you might not even listen to lyrics, but it's just like that moment. Like, that music is the soundtrack of the moment, whether you like it or not. And that's kind of awesome.
Like, I can't think of too many. Well, I can think of some artists today that'll still give me that moment, but like, I can listen to some Alanis Morissette and it'll bring me back to like I need to hear it. Something like that's just like I'll put on like "You Ought to Know" by Alanis Morissette and be like, because I need to feel something, and I'll put that song on. It's where like that's the one I'll go to. But like music today, it's nothing that really hits the pop charts is stuff that I'm really feeling,
I mean, it's not, again, it's like, it's good. It's all good music. I just don't know that it's designed for that anymore.
Well, maybe something like Red Clay Strays. There's a couple of their songs that I liked that were, that got popularized, but I wouldn't really consider them like the mainstream normal pop music that hits the charts. But I don't know. I mean, there was a band you remember like Black Keys?
Yeah.
They like
I love the Black Keys.
I do, but I over listened to them though, dude. Oh, yeah, no, that's a great album. Brothers is a good album too.
Yeah.
But like I kind of overdid it with them, but then because I kind of felt like they were just sounding the same almost. It was, or they were trying to push across the same message through every song. Like that's how I felt. I just couldn't do it with them anymore. Now when I listen, I kind of like I cannot listen to Gold on the Ceiling anymore, dude. Yeah. At all.
I was talking to my buddy who's a musician about this recently, how so I have a ton of songs that I want to record. It's expensive to record an album, and especially to record it like with your vision in mind the whole way through, right? Like, you can pay to have songs recorded and just have the songs recorded and not have a producer who wants to tell that story, who's just recording the songs the way that they know how. Like, they'll make it sound good, but not sound like a story. There's not a whole lot of concept albums anymore.
I have no idea what goes into recording an album. You know what goes into it?
Unfortunately, I do, yeah. I don't want to. I wish.
Why couldn't you just do it right here?
Okay, so some people who could. Like, there are some people who so talented that they can be their own producer and songwriter and instrumentalist.
What are you missing? You just named three things: songwriter, instrumentalist, and vocals. Right?
Right.
What are you missing? Out of put them in order.
So I can play guitar. Well, and I sing, and I can play a little bass. I have recording software. I know how to use a microphone to produce sound and put it onto a computer. To record the raw audio. Anybody can do that. Barrier to entry, though, is that for most of music history, the way that recording an album or even a song would work, a single, is that you save up some money, you have a band, or you have yourself and you have songs that you've written for yourself to play, whatever it is, and you save up money and you go to producer. And what the producer does is you basically say to them, this is the energy I want for the album. This is the vibe. This is the story I'm going to tell. I don't necessarily need to read through all of my lyrics to understand the story, but this is the story I want to tell with this music. I want to sound good. And then you present them with demos, right? So demos are what I'm capable of recording at this point. I can play music. I can convey the concept of a song that I'm writing, and I almost always write the lyrics first, and I can convey those lyrics. But right, in a way that sounds cohesive and sounds natural, like not like a computer made it or not like a child made it, is that's why people like in Nashville, like a lot of musicians, they want you to think, because it seems cool, that the way that music works is that they write a song and then poof, it just exists. Like they played it enough where it just shows up and now you can listen to it on Spotify. But a lot of the way that it works is that you write the song and then or the album, and then you pay for someone else to do all of the computer work so that you can just focus on the artwork of like, how am I strumming, how am I playing the song, how am I getting my guys in the band to sort of play the music with me, along with me. Like that in itself is kind of a project. And producers are really expensive because on a lot of your favorite albums that you've ever listened to, bands sound great, don't get me wrong, they practice all day long to sound the way that they sound. Producer is a lot of the reason too why you like albums.
They're putting it all together.
They're putting it all together, and it's not even like they're putting pieces together, like they're helping paint the puzzle piece. Like with, just use an example because they're a big band, Nirvana with Butch Vig. I just recently watched an interview with him because I love his production style. And I've been looking into producers and how some of my favorite producers do stuff, like Bryce Goggin. And they think of music in a very different way than a songwriter thinks of music. Butch Vig, when he's presented with what song was it that they were working on? Kurt Cobain had written "One Baby Said Another Two." I can't remember the name.
Baby,
I think it was a song off Bleach.
yeah, that's not one of the more popular songs,
I
so
can't even remember it. I don't know why I can't remember.
that's like almost like fast and yeah.
Usually I'm pretty good with song names, but basically, Butch Vig talks, like there's this viral clip that goes around where Butch Vig is talking about like, yeah, I basically had him record like a ton of guitar tracks. And what that means is like he had Kurt Cobain sit there and play the song on his guitar over and over again through different amps and through different like things, channels, basically different pedals that made the guitar sound different so that he could layer them and make the guitar sound big and heavy and grungy, right? And get the sound that Nirvana is known for. Just can sit and say what tone sounds good on my guitar for this song all day long. When you get in the studio and you're recording a song, like a producer is there to effectively make sure that the song that you're recording sounds the best it possibly can, because this is the version of the song that everyone is going to hear forever when they buy a physical copy or when it's on Spotify or something. We can't change it later, so Big is sitting there going, I need to get Kurt Cobain to record like 15 versions of this guitar part so that I can track them over each other and make it sound big and heavy, but there's only one guitarist in the room right now. You know what I mean? That's something that like
Kurt Cobain didn't start that way.
he didn't.
You know?
He didn't. He still paid producers to produce his music. Like he had good songs, and I think that's a great start. Lived in Seattle. He did some touring work for, I think it was the Melvins. He drove the van for a band called the Melvins for a while, and um, he I think he was underground for a long time. Like Nirvana, I think was underground for quite a while, and I think there were a few iterations of the band that eventually uh, became Dave, Chris, and Kurt. Before him, there were like two or three drummers. It was Chad Channing, who was responsible for a lot of the parts on like their early music. I think they kind of just blew up around the time Nevermind came out. Honestly, like back then,
That's the thing. They only had a few albums, though, dude.
right, yeah, the music scene was different back then. Like I think promotion was very different. I think that the vibe of live shows was really, really important to whether or not an artist or a band was successful. Nirvana was doing a very like punk spin on rock that became grunge that people really liked to see. Like nowadays, if someone was like smashing guitars and being kind of obstinate and yelling at fans on stage, it's like a thing that would make them not desirable to see. But then it was, I don't know, I think it was seen as cool and rebellious, and people went out to see Nirvana, and eventually I think
Probably because they felt like what you were talking about before, where like you're like, I like this song, but I'm a little scared. You know what I'm talking about? Like some Nirvana songs, like, so, I'm gonna turn the volume down if my parents walk by because like I don't know how. And the reason for it is because I don't know how they're gonna feel listening to this song. You know what I mean?
some of Nirvana's music is straight up like offensive, and not in like a snowflake like political way to talk about it, but in a way that like a song that is called R Word Me
Oh yeah, for sure.
is
Or even like Polly. Like if someone listens to Polly, like that, like if you listen to those lyrics. Oh yeah.
and like like they physically make you like cringe a little bit. Um and but that music is so necessary. Like that music is the most necessary music that they've made probably because it's not message behind those things is important for people. Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Well, I also think some of those lyrics that they have make absolutely no sense.
yeah.
Dude, you go through and read like what's a mosquito, my libido. Dude, he just wrote lines.
Yeah. And he even said that himself. I mean, like, so first of all, I got to say, in any conversation about Kurt Cobain and Nirvana, Cobain was a fantastic songwriter. And Billy Corgan said it best, unfortunately, because Billy Corgan's a little full himself, but he said it best. People like to think that Kurt Cobain, like, rolled out of bed and he did drugs and then he just made a hit. And that's not what happened. Like, Kurt Cobain very much was a musician who let people think he was stupid and know what he was doing just because he didn't care. And that was part of the aesthetic, but also I think it was just easier for him as a deeply troubled person to be like, I don't care what people think about the music that I'm making. I kind of just care about like, am I able to do this for a living forever? And am I like, does it help at all? I mean, I can't posit to be in the mind of Kurt Cobain, but I will say that like from a musician perspective, Kurt Cobain knew way more of what he was doing than people give him credit for. And he lied a lot, I think. So one of the lies I think that he's kind of convinced people of through like his interviews and stuff is that every musician I think sometimes will just add a lyric or add lines into something that there for show purposes only, basically. Like it's there for the aesthetic of the line fitting in with the rest of it. Necessarily like saying something to you, but conveying a feeling through those words. And um, you know, it's not as like artsy fartsy as like we could break it down like Shakespeare and know what my libido a mosquito means. But I think both purposeful and meaningless sometimes when those types of lyrics are added in. Because Kurt Cobain straight up would say, I added lyrics to this song or wrote lyrics to this song that are like nonsense lyrics. There's like an art to that in itself, right? Because you could write nonsense lyrics that and put them in a song, but they make the song sound horrible.
Yeah, but like what was he thinking at that time when he wrote that whole song. Those lyrics don't really make much sense at all.
I think part of the beauty of it is not knowing. And that, like, in the same way that we talked about, like, putting on the costumes for some of these musicians removes them personally from the music so that it's all for you as the listener. I think that doing that kind of provides that sort of space for you as well to be like, why do you even need to know what I was writing? Like, I do the same thing. I love that about Nirvana. In my lyrics, when I write lyrics sometimes, I'll write in a lyric that I know is not going to make sense to anybody else. And it's not to be like artsy fartsy about it or to make people ask questions or be like, oh, this guy's so thoughtful. I could never comprehend the meaning of this.
I think some people try to write songs like that most of the time.
There's a lot of people that do, but I think it shows. I think it shows. And I think that if you're self-aware enough and you're not the type of person who's trying to make music just to look at me kind of thing, I feel like you just safe. Like, you're probably going to cut that off before the final version of the song gets released if it sounds that way. Because if you're a music listener just as much as you are a person who puts out music as a musician, I think you probably can listen to your own music and at least acknowledge, like, that doesn't, like, you can discern that, like, that wouldn't affect me. I feel nothing about that. Like, I maybe put that in as a placeholder, but it can't, like, that lyric can't be that at the end. So probably I would assume, like, because those lyrics also went through Butch Vig's hands at some point too, and whoever was producing it and everybody else in the band, I would assume that those lyrics in some way made sense to them. And it obviously makes sense to some of the listeners. Like, it might not make sense. Right. Like, it.
I love singing that song because they just sounds good to like when I'm belting in the car. My mosquito,
It might not
my
make sense.
libido, yeah. You know?
Yeah. It might not make sense to your brain, but it makes sense to your ears and your heart. Does that make sense?
Kind of. If it feels good.
Right. And those same lyrics could have been something else. They could have been, I play skee ball, I go disco. Would it have the same effect? Probably not.
But even just you saying it right there, like the tune, the way it comes off, like like it's good.
Yeah.
But I also have a hot take on Dave Grohl. Do not like the Foo Fighters. First off, I do not like them.
Wow, no way. None of it. You don't like any of the Foo Fighters songs?
Worst bands in American history.
I've never met anybody who didn't like even a single Foo Fighters song.
I think Dave Grohl killed Kurt Cobain. Did I tell you this?
Yeah, you did. We talked, and I researched it. We talked about this like 2 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah. How does this nerdy drummer in the background all of a sudden take lead vocals, lead guitar of another band and blow up? I just think he's sitting back there drumming, looking at Kirk, going, "You fucking piece of shit, dude. I can do this better than you, dude." And all of a sudden he's gone, and now this guy blows up into the Foo Fighters. But no, I think there's talking about, like, when Foo Fighters were really coming up, and Superman's one of their songs, right? Superman, is that one of their songs?
You're probably thinking of Hero.
Hero, that's what I'm saying here. Like, I hate that song, dude.
Really?
Yeah, that's just one of those, like, talking about, like, producing a song to sound good for the masses. I think Foo Fighters, that's all they do.
Yeah.
I don't feel anything from their music. I think they're the the rock band for everyone. You know what I mean? Like, they're the rock band for the soccer mom. They're like, just I think I don't feel anything from their shit. Like, they're not. God, if anyone were to ever put them in the same, like, on par with like a Guns N' Roses or like Crew or something, like, I feel something from their lyrics. They had life experience. Like, I feel like Dave Grohl has no life experience into the music he's putting in. Like, I just don't. It doesn't. He's trying to be grungy because he kind of knows how to do it because Nirvana did it, but Kurt Cobain was fucking Nirvana, dude. Yeah. And then he tried to roll with that, and then he became like the rock or the grunge for the soccer mom or for, the teenager. It just, and that's why I don't like that band. I don't feel anything from it. It just feels like it's produced fake.
Yeah, no, yeah. So I kind of went through a roller coaster there of like agreeing with you, disagreeing with you, agreeing with you, disagree. Like I'd say for me like Foo Fighters was one of the first. I think Wasting Light was the first physical CD I ever had. Even though they were like one of my very early experiences with music, they're not my favorite. One of my favorite bands today.
That's also what's cool about music is we're going to disagree on music, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So
Well, and I think yeah, and I think your favorite music and your preferences are way more important to talk about than like what we think is good or bad. Like I think that that's like talking about what's good or bad is such a BS conversation in my opinion. But I will say with Foo Fighters, I understand why your preference would be that. Like why you would be like it doesn't resonate with me because some music just doesn't. And also the sound in terms of the sound, like if I'm putting on my like Anthony Fantano ears, like my music critic ears, I'll say for what it was, like Wasting Light in particular, the album was like recorded in Dave Grohl's garage and Butch Vig came out and it was kind of like I just feel like they were making a lot of music that they were about producing, but like to my ears too, it's none of it is like super emotional feeling. Like I haven't cried listening to a Foo Fighters song or like felt moved to something listening to Foo Fighters. I do think that it's a type of rock music you hear when you like go into a mall store, like you're in FYE and it's like, you know, uh,
eyes at it. Ugh.
Everlong does tickle my fancy a little bit. It's one of those songs that I don't like. I feel like I shouldn't like as a musician because everybody asks you to play Everlong when you do a cover gig. It's grown on me. I think the reason why it's grown on me is because it's simple. And I think a lot of the Foo Fighters music, a lot of the Foo Fighters like studio recorded stuff, very complex. I mean, I like Foo Fighters probably a lot more than you do, to be honest.
Yeah, everyone does, dude. But I don't really think Dave Grohl killed Kurt Cobain. I just like that as a conspiracy
No,
theory.
it's funny. Yeah. I mean, I think to be honest with you, I as unfortunate as it is, like I really wanted to believe for a long time because I don't like to idolize anybody, but I did see Kurt Cobain as sort of like a like I just dug his music. I felt like I connected with it. I wanted to see it as anything but Kurt Cobain killed himself, but that unfortunately is the most likely.
I mean, that's being Sublime, dude. I just wish that, like, he's. If I could go back and see Sublime, I would love to go back and see Sublime. If I could, I just wonder what other music he would have made. That's the band that I wonder. Nirvana and probably Sublime are the two that I wonder how much more music they would make. Because I love 40 Ounces Freedom and Self-Titled.
So many great musicians were taken way too soon, especially like in the 80s and 90s, like whether it was plane crashes or drugs or suicide. It's unfortunate, but like Alice in Chains is one of my favorite bands of all time, and the things Lane Staley could have done with more time. I mean, the things Chris Cornell could have done with more time would have been epic. I mean, those guys are just the type of musicians that when you hear a song with their vocals on it, it's stamped with them and it just always like has an appeal. It's always so fundamentally appealing. And like sometimes it can even be really simple music, but it's just so appealing, you know. But with the Dave Grohl thing, I will say I think he's a super talented multi instrumentalist, and I think he's
Yeah, I'll give him that. He can play everything.
right. He can play everything, and he's for you to be able to play everything and also be like stupendously proficient at one of them. Even like he's a very good drummer in my opinion. Like that's that's pretty darn impressive, you know.
This makes me feel like an asshole because you're absolutely right. Like, because that type of thing is, I think a lot of people judge musicians, me myself included, without really looking at the work that they've had to put in to be able to do what they do. And then, but at the same time, I'm only listening to what they've put out for me to listen to, you know. But then I also have to like, because people will give like Justin Bieber and people like that like a lot of shit, but I'm like, yeah, but that guy actually, I'm pretty sure is a fantastic musician of like many different instruments.
Right.
So
Justin Bieber, you know what? I'll make you feel like less of an asshole. I've never liked Justin Bieber, and I don't think I ever will.
0.
Zero. I don't like any of his music. I will say, now, a group of people that were my age growing up that didn't like Justin Bieber because I think they were all jealous of him. And I don't want to come across like that because as a person, I don't know who Justin Bieber was. I know that many people think he's a beautiful human being and very handsome, but I never worry about that when I've listened to music. Like, I've never thought about that kind of stuff in my life. I just genuinely don't like his music, and I don't like the things that are projected through the music. Not a single Justin Bieber song has ever like touched me in any profound.
Well, yeah, he's made
Way.
for the mass. Well, dude, there is actually no. There's one Justin Bieber song. I forget what it is. That I really liked. I'm not a big Justin Bieber fan. I don't dislike him or like him really, but uh, there was one song that I forgot. Damn it! I remember I took like a screenshot of it to remember.
Must have been Baby. It's a real.
That is a good one. That's like his first one, bro. That's like that's one though. That's just the pop song that everyone likes, and it's just repeating of the same chorus over and over again.
Yeah.
You know,
I think we're kind of circling around an idea here without explicitly saying it that you can be a fantastic musician but not have the appeal behind you of resonating with people. And I think that's probably what it is with Foo Fighters. It's like that music is probably good. Like, that's why I don't like to have conversations about music being good or bad, because like I don't really think about music in terms of that. I think about it in terms of who does it resonate with. Like, Foo Fighters is probably objectively like it's objectively well produced. It's the same producer as Nirvana. It's a lot of the time. It's well produced music made by instrumentalists who are amazing. I mean, Taylor Hawkins, the drummer for Foo Fighters, was like I love his work. Outside of Foo Fighters with the Coattail Riders and everything, fantastic instrumentalist. But I'm not surprised when you say you don't like them, partly because like a lot of big artists that I don't like that I can acknowledge are objectively putting out music that's professionally made, like they've probably worked hard to put out, you know?
do you think there's think a new genre will ever be made? Like, I feel like even as we're talking about this, and we touched, mainly we've been touching on like the '90s and pop of today. But I think the problem with today, I don't think there can be a new genre. Like, I feel like you had your, you can go way back and go like classical music, and then go like country western, and then like your '50s, like even Motown, doo-wop, all that stuff, and then '60s kind of classic rock, and all this '80s into what the '80s was, right? Sounded way different. Everyone knows an '80s song. Oh, that's an '80s song. And then '90s touches on like alternative rock and grunge, and like, ooh, these are new. Like, we didn't do these before. And then even like heavy metal comes in like the '80s and '90s too, some '70s, but like, and then the 2000s come across, and it's like this other kind of alternative rock though, like a Black Keys and even like White Stripes, where you're like, oh, this is rock, but it's not like that '90s alternative. This is kind of different alternative. And then you hit like the tens, where and of course pop is running through all these eras, right? But now I'm sitting there going, I don't know if there can kind of be.
I think so. I'm gonna
It became EDM and all that too, right? That's
yeah. I'm gonna disagree with you. I'm gonna say that genuinely, I think a new genre of music is created every single day, but I don't think that it's profitable, and I think that's why we don't hear or even feel the need to label the new genres. Like, okay, can I give you an example?
or do we just put it into a genre?
Right. We attach it to something else that's familiar. But do you listen to TikTok like ever? Are you like ever on TikTok? Like, do you?
I only post to it. I never go on it.
Okay. How, kids are gonna know. The kids are gonna know what I'm talking about. There's this end now, and the first I saw of it was this guy named Dr. Giggle Touch, who, like, they make this music that the only way I
Shady name, but okay.
yeah.
Yeah, dude.
You should hear the music. It's described I can only describe it as being like hoinky sploinky.
I don't even know what the fuck that is. Maybe if I listen to it, I go, oh, okay. Don't listen to it.
Shouldn't listen to it. It's stupid. It's like fart noises and like weird noises over top of it.
That's the original music.
Yeah, it's like hope, and then like a bunch of like do 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 like meaty sounds. That's technically like a new genre. Like Leonard Skinner could never. You know what I mean? Exactly. But it's like basically a full song worth of like sound bites chained together. And even though that's not palatable, that is like a new genre. I think new stuff like that, like new sort of genre bending stuff is being made every day. But for the same reason that a pop artist will say that they're country because it's the biggest genre in the world, we tend as listeners to just kind of attach new sounding music to stuff that we've already heard because we now are sort of listened to so many genres in the lifetime of like the average human being now. Like the last 100 years is pretty much the only time when we've had like recorded genres of music, right? Which is crazy to think about. So when it comes to like new genres, we're probably not going to know what those new genres are until you and I are 30 years in the future. Because when we listen to 90s stuff right now, that is what we call 90s. Like it all has that 90s vibe.
I agree. Yeah, because like I don't know if were they calling Nirvana grunge at the time or were they just calling it rock? And then and then all of a sudden STP comes out, Smashing Pumpkins comes out. Even like I heard someone call like the Red Hot Chili Peppers like thing that I didn't agree with. I forget what genre they put them in. I was like, that's not. No, yeah. They're like alternative. I get like I don't even know what to call.
They're not. By the way, I always get heat for this. I don't like Red Hot Chili Peppers, and we can talk about that if you want. But
there's about 4 or 5 songs that I do like, but I'm not. See them and Blink 182 are bands that like I could kind of do without.
Yeah, and see that's exactly it. That's why I don't talk about it in terms of good and bad because it's like it's just all what we do and don't like. You know, like if I am the opportunity to like open for an artist, like if people liked my music enough and resonated enough where I could achieve the goal of like opening for some of my favorite bands. Want my music to be there for people who do not like it as well. Because we need the music that we don't like to juxtapose the music that we do. And we need, you know, it's just, you should be thinking about those people when you make the music. Like, when I write a song, I'm writing a song about something I feel super comfortable with. I write a song just about something that is close to me. And that I'm like, it could be important for someone else to know that someone else has felt this, or like, it could be important for someone else to feel this feeling again. And
what if you did the opposite? One of your a new song that you write, do one that you're super uncomfortable writing. So write that one.
That's why I changed because I was about to say that I'm comfortable writing. I changed because I actually think most of my songs are songs that make me uncomfortable to. Like, I would be super uncomfortable to talk about the content of my music. And that's why I resonate partly with, like, the Cobain kind of side of talking about your own music, is that I would be super uncomfortable for some of the content of my songs to have to explain to you, like, in a condescending way, but to have to basically explain myself, like, in a conversational context. Like, it's hard to do that. And music and poetry provide the medium for me to do that in a way that doesn't feel inauthentic. Like, I've just never been a person who really loves to sit around and about, you know what I mean? Like, just, I know, but we're not talking about like you know what I mean? Like our feelings and like the hard stuff. Like, cause it's super uncomfortable. Like, we're having a fun conversation right now, but it would be super uncomfortable if I was like, yo, let's talk about someone in my life that died. Makes me really sad, you know? We could figure out a way to talk about it, but it's just I don't know. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you know what's weird? Because if I bring someone on here, and like I do know a little bit of their history. Um, for some reason, when I started this, I thought that that's what I should bring up, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and I quickly kind of learned that that's not what I should bring up because
Yeah.
one, maybe they don't want to talk about that, dude, and the other one is like me. It's may not be as interesting as I thought it would be. Like we can talk about the musicians who have passed away, right? And it's weird. I know more into their life than bringing up like a hard time, but like maybe if like someone who passed away in your life that you were like, I wrote this song and now it's blown up. Here's the real reason behind it. Then we can go into it, you know. But that is or maybe the lesson that you learned from the passing of someone is like where I would go with it. Then I'd go like, did you grow spiritually from it? Did you go down a dark path for 6 months and then come out of it, you know, and go, oh, so that's what you learned from the passing of someone, not just that someone died. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you want, I'll speak specifically because I think.
Now we're going to talk about someone who died? Is
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, dude.
So I think you're aware of my mom passed away last year, and you've been very supportive of me during that time. There's a lot of people that I've relied on, and a lot of places that I've relied on to give me support, give me comfort, and give me work as a musician. The reason why I started playing music live, uh, not because I felt like I was good at it or because I had a story that was somehow important for people to hear that wasn't told a million times. I started playing music because my mom passed away and I didn't have a job at the time. I had left my job because the job I was working became so frustrating and sleepless that um, handle that along with mom being sick. And she was very sick for she was sick for a couple years, honestly, but it came to a head in 2023. She fell and she couldn't get up, and I had to convince her to go to a hospital because she couldn't get up for days. Tried to help her up, or so sick. She was in the hospital. I left my job. People didn't really understand what I was feeling at the time. I mean, I be this way, but I would come into work sometimes and just be so angry, like be so just angry in the morning for no reason. I would wake up so angry and so ready to just like close my eyes again. And I started playing music because I just needed to pay the bills. I had no money. My student loans were still hitting every month. The bills were hitting every month for the house that my mom had taken care of before. I needed to pay the bills. And for the time that my mom was in the hospital, it was kind of a mix of all of us, the rest of my family. And this way for me to basically justify like spending 2 or 3 nights a week working, and that was it. And the rest of the time I could be with my mom.
Oh, so she was still alive when you started playing.
Yeah, she was alive when I started playing, but she was in the hospital, and the doctors kept saying she was going to be okay and that it was just a fall, but it wasn't that, and nobody really knew. And I just suddenly got a call one night after months of my mom being in the hospital from a doctor, and it was a call that I'd gotten a number of times, but it was never anything serious. It was like, "Hey, you should come over here and with your mom right now." And that had happened a few times before I'd gotten that call, the same exact call, where they were calling me there basically to like her about signing off on things. But it was never something that was like a surgery or like anything that was life threatening. We just had all been told by the healthcare providers that she was slowly recovering from falling, that she'd hurt her hip. Final call that I got was late at night one night. Called me and said, "Hey, you should get here." And I said, "Oh, okay, I'll be there as soon as I can. Called me again while I was on my way there, and they said, you need to get here as fast as possible. And I had a full-blown panic attack on the way to the hospital because I just knew. I knew that bad was happening. I'd spoken to my mom in the weeks before. I'd seen her like pretty much every day. And, there's a whole lot of semantics about sort of what happened with my mom, but she was just acting different. She was talking to me a little different. And I now realize in hindsight that I think she knew that she was passing away and she was being very brave about it because it's very much her. But I went to the hospital and she's probably needs an emergency surgery or something. But she's having a real tough time right now. She can't talk. And was not really working well. She was unfortunately passing away from sepsis, which can make you very weary and not understand what's going on. She looked at me and sorry. Words written on my guitar. She was dying and she shouldn't have been able to talk to me. And she said, no matter what happens, it's going to be okay. And talk through this for a second.
We can pause.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I'll be good in a second.
Yeah. Do you
That was more, I got so caught up in having a conversation with you that I didn't think about like, hey, people shouldn't see me crying. No, no.
No, I like that because people should, because I feel like we live in a world now today that like we're either told to show so much emotion or no emotion.
Yeah.
And it's weird. We're either hyper emotional or hypo emotional. If that was the right two words to use, I don't even know.
Well, I'm glad it's about my mom. I don't want to, I always want to feel something about my mom, but she said to me, no matter what happens, it's going to be okay. She shouldn't have been able to talk. Like, she could barely think. I couldn't get her to have a conversation with me while I was standing over her in that hospital bed for the rest of the night. But she basically said the only two things she was able to say to me were, three things really. Don't be scared. No matter what happens, it's going to be okay, and I love you. And then that night, she was rushed into emergency surgery. It was very quick. They had me sign off to send her into surgery because the rest of my family was, for whatever reason, not able to be there super late at night that night. They came as quickly as they could, but this was like 3 a.m. So, and off, they sent her in, and I slept on a park bench, like outside the hospital. Not a park bench, but a bench outside the hospital. Next day, my siblings show up, go in, and they're like, yeah, an issue with her colon. It was potentially cancer. Her colon had like turned black and seized up or something, and everything was staying. They basically her up and cleaned her like through her stomach, and she was just very infected. And speaking to what you were just saying about the 6 months, did someone passing change you, make you more or less spiritual? Story is why I keep doing music, is because everyone wants to hear you say, I became a man of God and I cleaned up my act and I am a better person with a 401k and a dog and a car and a wife now after my mom passed.
It's a country song, yeah.
Right. I'm so much better off now and I've learned so much. And it doesn't need to be that. Like,
I don't think it's ever that.
It really never is.
The only person is the one from the band I don't like either, Pearl Jam. He was like the cleanest guy to get away with never doing drugs and whatever. Eddie Vedder.
I feel as broken and crazy sometimes and angry now and like annoyed and just the negative feelings. I still feel them just as much as I did. It just hits me in weird moments. Like I'm way better at like, I mean, I just had a moment.
No, but no, that makes so much sense though. It does hit you in moments.
Yeah, like I'm pretty decent now at like not really letting it show too much when I'm with my friends and stuff, because that's just depressing and that's not how my mom would want me to live my life. But sort of the music, at least that I've been writing for the last year, a lot of it, the center of it is like I'm not perfect. I don't know that I'll ever be like this pretty boy that people want to come and look at instead of listening to me. I don't think that I'm really that attractive, and not like necessarily in a physical sense, but in the sense of like I don't think people are ever going to gravitate to me in the same way that they might gravitate towards a Justin Bieber or like a Taylor Swift. And so
But Tom Petty's ugly as fuck. You know, he looks like an old woman, dude. God, dude, I felt his music.
Yeah. But that's exactly it. Is that I love my mom so much. I still do. And like for her to be alive right now, the only way that she's doing that is through the people who really loved her a lot. She was kind of she lived a pretty quiet life in terms of like, she was a loud lady at times, and she was funny and stuff, and kind of weird like me, but she like famous or ever popular. Shifted for me the perspective on making music from I'm sort of doing this to pay the bills and because it's something I enjoy doing, and shifted to I'm doing it to pay the bills and it's something I enjoy doing, the purpose behind it. And the thing then that like I was like I could do this for the rest of my life, and I'd really like to work towards doing it for the rest of my life, because that story is so much more important than and not to compare, but it's more important to me at least, and I'm sure there's a kid out there who it applies to, regardless of whether or not a bunch of people like it, some people like it, nobody likes it. There's someone who's going to hear me talk about these things in the way that I talk about them through a song. Really, it's going to help them out.
You'll be a forever fan.
To be a fan of me, I just want them to be a fan of the way they feel. Like, and that's something that I could see as being like my life's mission. Like just to the music helped me so much when I was depressed over the last, almost 2 years now, a year and a half. This happened, feeling like I lost the only person in my life that kind of understood me, like sort of understood what I was like, and I'm a little weird and shy and stuff. Like a lot of music that I could say like that helped me in this moment. That helped me realize what was going wrong, where I was becoming a way that I didn't like. I was being angry all the time and I didn't want to be. How do I come out of it? And I'd really like to make music that tells a story, that has like a concept for, a group of songs that give people even that like 2-second moment where they're like, yeah, that music was there for me in a moment and I didn't even want it to be the song, but it was there. Right. Me is so special, and it's a way to honor my mom. I don't think she ever really would have wanted me to be a musician, but I feel in my heart though that it like a sense of pride about it, and a sense of.
Is she your muse at the moment, like a musical muse? Because everyone kind of it seems like every musician kind of has, whether or not like we're always kind of doing something for someone, whether or not we like to admit it. You know.
That if I wrote, so like I've written like 40, 50 songs that I think are actually decent. All of those songs were about my mom. like that would be really heavy and almost obsessive, right? Yeah. No. So I would say, to answer your question, like I don't think my mom is my muse in terms of like the art being about her. I think that my mom is my inspiration and my motivation to get up and do things like post myself playing music and to feel the conversational aspect of doing it as a job. Like, mom is a lot of the reason why, it's hard to talk about these kind of gross things, but like when you're depressed, like I started smoking cigarettes when my mom was sick and when she passed away. I never thought I'd do that in my life. I hadn't done it before. Reason why I don't. She's the reason why I wake up and I do things that are sometimes easy to people, but when you're depressed or sad or you're like dealing with really negative emotions, she's the reason why I do the things that are good to get out of them, if that makes sense. But she's not necessarily the thought behind every song that I write. Like, songs about my neighbors, my people that I've loved a lot in my life that maybe I don't know now, people that I love right now. Maybe I write a song about some random encounter I had. Like, I'll write a song about pretty much anything if I think there's a story behind it. And so the inspiration for the idea just comes from that happening, comes from the feeling I had. Definitely, I wouldn't be playing music live, and I wouldn't be writing songs with the expectation of playing them for people if it weren't for my mom. And self-deprecating, but part of the reason why I wouldn't be doing that if it weren't for my mom is because I just never thought I was good enough or interesting enough. And I always felt about music from listening to it, like there's nothing that I could say that other people haven't said probably better than me or played better.
Yeah, that's not the point. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And that's why I have to think about music in terms of who does it resonate with rather than good or bad.
Well, that's like why we even started this, because my buddy and I started this. But like, if I went into it with if you go into it with like a monetary value, or you go into it with like a fame value or something like that, then you're gonna be kind of always pushing towards that instead of just like the enjoyment of it. Like, I like doing this because I like talking to people, and it's fun to sit across from someone and hear an interesting story, or like even like then speak my story onto them at the same time. So like with music, if you enjoy doing it, right?
Oh yeah.
So then like that should be maybe just your main goal is I enjoy doing this, and if the other things come with it, these are all like bonuses, right?
Yeah, 100%. I'm not a money guy. I mean, I think money holds you back in so many ways, even when you have a lot of it. I've never really had a whole lot of money in my life, so maybe I just don't know what I'm missing, I guess.
Maybe you don't know if you're a money guy or not yet. Maybe once you get it, you're like, oh, I'm a money guy.
Yeah. I don't know, but I hope the way that I just don't see any of the accolades with music. I don't see it as a thing that I do to serve myself, really. I mean, like, there is a therapeutic thing to playing music to like help myself heal a little bit and to sort of get those thoughts out. I mean, I've always played music and wrote songs and written poetry since I was a kid.
Yeah, but don't you feel good when someone else feels good?
100%. And that's more of what it is, though, is like the money, like the things that only apply to me that could come from music don't really affect me. I'm not swayed to do it when I think about the money. When I think about me in a setting where I'm able to just wake up and write songs and hang out with a group of people who can help me realize those songs, who are like musicians or a producer or something, like that to me is an exciting way to spend my day and get paid to do it, because we all need to make money somehow. But I'm not thinking about how can I make $1 million off this song when I write a song. And maybe that means that my songs will not be successful. I don't know. But when I...
Well, that goes in like... Hold on a second. I'm going to pee.
Yeah, go ahead. Is this usually... Yeah.
Is this usually what?
Is this usually how long the conversations go, or is this a whole lot of yammering on my end?
No, this is So I have a clock up there now. It says halfway Runaways on it. Yeah. But yeah, I'm thinking about getting some mugs too. But yeah, no, they go about this long. I mean, dude, it's so weird. I have that clock up there so I know how long they're going. But dude, I have not once remembered to look at the fucking clock when we start, dude.
Hopefully that means it's in like an enjoyable.
Oh yeah, I usually don't pee during them too. I can hold the pee and go because like partially because I don't want to fucking have to edit that shit out. But then you only pee twice, bro.
What?
You only pee twice? A 2 pee day? You only pee? I only pee twice in a week, dude. This is your problem, bro.
I run real dry, man. I'm like an engine with no oil.
I know. I asked you to pee in the beginning. You're like, nope, don't need to. I'm an empty tank. It's like, no, dude, go pee. I pee 28 times a day. I drink so much water, though. I'm a heavy...
You got to stay hydrated. Not being hydrated is a big problem.
Myself a liquidator. I'm a heavy liquidator. But, no, yeah, but I guess talking back what we were talking about.
You're going to be like the Terminator. You're going to be able to like turn into a puddle and slide on.
Oh, I can already do that. I can do that. But I don't turn into metal. He turns into metal, right?
Yeah, like liquid metal.
Yeah. I can't do that yet.
Hey, maybe you'll get there someday. Who knows with modern technology? Yeah.
I think that's just the mind. I think it's just the mind can do it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think because there's so much iron in our body. Yeah. I think we would morph into iron. Yeah. Not whatever.
Probably what's happening there, because it's not a movie, by the way. He actually did that for the movie. What? Yeah. What he did probably was he concentrated on making every atom in his body ferrous. You know, iron. Ferrous is means like iron, like it. So you know that iron. What? You know that iron is like the original term for it. You know why it's Fe on the periodic table?
Yes.
Because that's what it is. It's ferrous or something like that, or fer. I don't remember, but
periodic table. We're talking about this. Wait, so.
You're like, we're talking about this.
You should write a song about this, dude. One of your songs should be titled Ferrous.
You know what rust is? It's ferrous oxide. Iron oxide.
Dude, you could write a whole song called Ferrous, and it'll be how.
I already got one. It'll be Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and it'll be Ferris Bueller, but if Matthew Broderick could turn into liquid metal.
You're gonna write a song about that?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. I wasn't gonna go there. I was gonna make it a little more meaningful, like how I'm tough like iron or something, or like how you can mold me into, I became stronger. Yeah. Something like that.
Well, I mean, really, if we're gonna talk about something like that, we should make the song about tin. Tin is very malleable. With iron, it's either you got to think in terms of the solid, or you got to think in terms of like the liquid that the Terminator turns into. But if you want to go like malleable, pliable stuff, we probably should write a song about tin.
Make a whole album on just different metals, but no one knows that it's different metals, even though you're tin and you're iron.
I'll make them about all of the metals that like are like the first 20 on the periodic table. So they're not heavy because they don't have a lot of protons. And I'll call it light metal, and it'll be a new genre.
Dude, light metal, and it'll be about, okay, what's another one? What could you do? Is gold a metal? Yeah. Oro. Yeah. Oro? Why do you know this stuff? I don't know. Why do you know this? Did you just sit down here and just study the periodic table? Oh, you know what I did one time? When I was watching Breaking Bad, I was bad on drugs, and I was watching Breaking Bad, and I wanted to have like this ego of I'm a smart person. So I wrote the whole periodic table on flashcards so I could then regurgitate it not once to this day I don't even know what you're talking about. Not once to this day was I going to know how many protons and electrons were in iron and what each sign was. Yeah. Dude, but I remember watching Breaking Bad, and I just thought, I was like, I'm going to cook meth. But I was doing drugs at the time, and I was just snorting Adderall. Oh, wow. Watching this TV show for days, dude. And
I mean, it's a great show. I mean, there are worse shows to watch if you're,
Yeah, because I went through that whole phase of my life. Talking about like hardships and stuff. I mean, I talk about it on other podcasts here, but I went through my craziness. And, but yeah, I can't watch that show now. I just don't think I'd be able to because I did all those drugs. Yeah. I don't know what it would bring up. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, dude.
It's a great show, but that sucks. Like,
can't watch it again? Well, I saw it once. I'm not a big show rewatcher anyway.
Not even like shows like The Office though.
I hate The Office.
Whoa, dude! You don't like Foo Fighters or The Office? I'm learning a lot about you today. Are we still gonna be friends later,
Oh,
man?
you were so bland.
I mean, okay, listen. The Office, I love it, but only I can't sit and watch it. It has to be playing.
I shouldn't say I hate it because there's clips that I watch from it on social media where I go, oh, that scene's actually really funny. So I just can't sit down and watch a whole episode of that stuff.
Right.
I'll watch Always Sunny.
I think there are great seasons of The Office where every moment of the episode is like is pretty hilarious, but there's a number of seasons, especially a lot of the later seasons, where it's like the whole episode is just kind of filler, and then they crack a joke every once in a while, and it's like that was actually funny. But like
Some stuff in that I think is hilarious.
right. You ever watch Always Sunny?
That's what I just said. I said I'll watch that. I can rewatch that show over and over again forever.
Really?
Yeah,
it's
do you
that
not like Always Sunny?
No, I do. Of course I do. You think I couldn't say that on a podcast and expect not to get beat?
In Philadelphia? Yeah.
No, I love Always Sunny.
Oh, it's one of the best shows ever.
And it's like, oh, it's so like groundbreakingly funny too. They do like crazy stuff in Always Sunny. Like can't think of another show where they were like, yeah, we're gonna have a scene that's live action where we have adults like beating up kids. Have you seen that?
Pretty much every episode. Dude, their very first episode is called "The Gang Gets Racist."
Yeah. And that's a very controversial first episode, I'd say too. Yeah.
It's wild that was their first episode.
Yeah.
It's insane. Or like the home makeover episode,
Yeah.
where they wanna do a home makeover for a Mexican family, so then they do everything what they think a Mexican would do or would like. So then they make a taco bed, and then they burn the house down. It's ridiculous, dude. They're like, move that truck, and the house is on fire.
Yeah. Man. It's good stuff. But the periodic table thing.
How'd you do that?
Studied it. I went to school for so I have my degree, my minor is biology, but the only reason I have a minor in biology is because I was studying like chemistry and medicine when I first went to college, because I thought I was gonna I went to college and I was like, I'm gonna be a doctor. I'm gonna be a sports
totally.
doctor. And then I just ended up not liking it.
You're a sports guy?
Oh yeah, I love sports. I played sports all my life. I don't look like it, but I love.
No, you're a lineman. Yeah. Yeah, you look like a sports.
Which line? Where would you put me on the line?
Center.
That's crazy because I literally played center. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to put you in center or maybe left guard. Right guard, a guard.
I was in a lot better shape for most of high school and then in college and before like my freshman year of high school. So I was a lot thinner for most of my life. This is like not my weight that I've been at for most of my life. So, yeah. So very much so, but
I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just.
No, it is. It is. It's always kind of been like, I've probably always been. No, I shouldn't say that. Always been pudgy is the word I'll use, but like never really like this where people would look at you and go like, oh, that's a big dude. Like where kids like look at you for a little bit and stare at you and they're like, that's the biggest.
Oh fuck! Does that happen to you?
Oh, it's happened, yeah. And it sucks, but like also, how can I be like judgmental or be angry about it? It's like, I don't know. Like if you're like, I'm self-aware. Like I am a big guy. Like I am a fat dude. Like so, I'm not afraid to like talk about it in those terms. Like it can be what it needs to be. Like it's funny sometimes, and I'm sad about it. Like I don't want to be unhealthy. But at the end of the day, like sometimes people are a little weird about mentioning to me that I'm like a bit like fat or something. Like they don't like I don't know it. And it's like, dude, I know. It's okay. We can crack jokes about it. Like, no, people get way too offended about like just the way they are sometimes. Like I am big. And it is sad weight. It's mostly it's honestly a lot of it's from not having a whole lot of money for a while during the time that my mom was sick. I would basically, it kind of started during COVID, towards the end of COVID, my mom was like not doing great then. And she couldn't really like go to the grocery store. And I was living separate from her anyway, but when I would come home, I would kind of like buy groceries. And then what would be left for me was like I would be out all the time. So I would just go and get fast food. And then when she got sick, it got real bad because I would working like really horrible hours, like long hours into the like very late night sometimes. I would have to go see my mom in the morning and then like go back to work. And I would just the only thing that would be open and available for me to get would be fast food, like a 24-hour McDonald's or something at like 3 or 4 in the morning. And because I didn't eat the rest of the day anything but junk food from work, I would just eat so much of it.
Yeah, dude, food's been a comfort for me. I have body dysmorphia 100%. I've fluctuated my weight throughout my life. And then, but it's, I mean, so like I don't judge at all.
Were you ever like a big guy?
I think the most I've been is like 265, 270. But that was in my drinking days. I haven't drank in almost 10 years. So my drinking days were really bad. And it was, I'd wake up so hungover. The first thing I thought I had to do was eat food just to try to, mediate my headache a little bit. And then, so I think those days were the worst because I was just so sad and I was just depressed and stuck in an alcoholic hole that's when I was the heaviest. And then, but then I kind of went the opposite direction. When I like got sober the first time, I went like strict vegan, heavy running, and I went down to like 183 at my lowest,
Wow.
which is wild. I'm like 210 now, which I think is all right.
At my lightest, I think I was around like 180. I think I was like 178 for a period in high school.
See, I was 6'4", 183 as well.
Yeah. So that's a lot thinner. Like that for like
I was skinny.
for height. Yeah, you were a skinny guy. 4 inches is a lot of extra. You need some meat. Yeah. No, yeah, that's yeah, I mean like weight is I lost the most weight I ever lost was at that point. I got into my biggest in high school at like 260 something. Just 80 pounds. I lost like 78 pounds. Between I think my sophomore and my junior year of high school, I was so upset and frustrated. And it was literally like a thing of like been like a normal weight, like a little overweight for most of my life before that. But I always played sports and like I felt good and stuff. But I got to the point where I was like, why do I feel so bad about the way that I look? Like I felt really bad about the way that I looked. I mean, I really didn't get any attention. Way like I just felt very ugly all the time when I wasn't like big. I just felt like, oh, something about me is just unattractive. Like it's probably the way that I look and my personality or both or something. And so I lost weight with the intent of like
Liking yourself?
yeah, but also like I honestly it was a little unhealthy. Like I did it for other people. I did it so that like a girl would like me.
You could like yourself. See,
Right.
this was my problem. Like, that's whenever I've gone through weight fluctuations or body transformations, trying to lift more, doing something like that. It's one thing that I've learned throughout my life of, shifting my body is I just have never liked myself.
Yeah.
And I would, even when I'd get down to be like, I look like Tarzan. When I got to that point in my life, I was doing it because I wanted other people to like me so that I could like myself. And then all of a sudden it just really came down to, I don't fucking like myself. And then it was like, well, I know I can do something about the body, right? Like I can shift it. I can eat a certain way or not eat at all or do it or lift or exercise or run or da. Like I still struggle with it to this day. Like not liking myself. Like there's points in my life still when someone like doesn't like me, I like look at them sometimes and go like, "Join the fucking club." Like I don't even like me either, dude. Yeah. So but the weight is one thing. Like at least thing about it though is I can go to the gym and I can put in the discipline. And now I like that Frank is disciplined. And now I like that Frank is pushing hard and working towards something. So like now I'm liking myself because of the journey that it pushes me through, right? Or I can train for a run and now I like this and like that. But thing about being overweight is that there is something you can do. It. There's, you know, what's weird. You know, people I hate are those who are like, I can't gain weight. You know, shut up, dude. Okay, don't get upset about it. Yeah,
You want me to show you how
but
to do
they're
it?
upset. Yeah,
Just
dude.
drop down
Oh,
to
you wanna like to-do list? I can
Yeah.
to-do it for you.
I think it sucks because, like, from being on the other end of the aisle, it's like people who are skinny are traditionally, objectively, like, seen as more attractive, right? And, like, I mean, there's a truth to that in terms of, like, objective sense, like who's going on the magazine covers, who is like, who are the famous people? They're like kind of all like the skinny hot people, right? So, like, I get that people, what they're really complaining about is kind of like on the other end of having a kind of not great metabolism that is in disrepair. You can have a metabolism that's great and be a very healthy person, such that, like, feel the effects of being underweight or even like even a little too skinny, because I know that, like, that can affect your stomach and stuff like that. And
Well, there's skinny fat and stuff like that. Like I've known plenty of skinny people that still have diabetes.
right.
Yeah.
I would say though, like, for sure, definitively, and not to be like controversial or anything, but it definitely, at least in my opinion, maybe I'm biased, it sucks a lot more to be overweight than it does to be where near normal weight. Being super underweight is just as unhealthy as being overweight. But, like, and you should always do something about it. Like,
They're underweight. I'm so sorry I just said that, but you know what I'm
it's
saying?
okay. I'd rather,
For other reasons like mobility.
yes, it's hard to move around sometimes, a big guy. It's super, I mean, I've been losing some weight, right? Um, Part of the reason why I wasn't so proactive about it is because I was super depressed. I couldn't bring myself to go to the gym, and I also didn't really have money to.
You can work out with me, dude.
I'll take you up on that. I kid you not.
No one ever does.
I will.
Actually, that's not true. Some people do.
I'll work out.
They just don't last.
The it's hard to, so much harder to get in the gym and enjoy exercise and feel good about exercise when you're fat and you stay fat for the first couple months. And I feel qualified to say that because I've lost almost 100 pounds. Like, I've lost that 80 pounds in my life before. And I will tell you that I felt so watched and so, like, not welcome in the gym when I was big, when I was losing that weight for a long time. People would see me, like, out jogging, and I'd be wearing clothes that were comfortable for me to jog in. Like, obviously, I'm not wearing,
Do
like,
you think that they were watching? Or you think that was in your head? Why weren't you wearing a crowd? No, but
no, they were definitely. I mean, it was around high school time, so the reason why they were watching me is because kids are judgmental about everything you do. But
yeah, kids are mean.
right, kids were super mean about it. The fact that I even wanted to lose weight, but I do take a lot. Like, I'm proud of the younger me, at least, for realizing when I was getting that big, for whatever reasons I was getting big that we won't get into. When I got that big, I was like, oh, it was kind of unhealthy, and I just wanted a girl to like me, like, even a single girl to just be like, oh, he's cute.
Just one girl.
Right.
I just want one person to like me, please, and for them to tell me it.
Right. For them to just say it or even acknowledge it. So it was really hard being big and being the sweaty guy in the gym, and everybody kind of looking at you and being like, he's not actually going to lose weight. Like, he's not, whatever. But I just shut it out. I would go into the gym and I would play military cadences in my headphones, like the left, right, left. And I would just, like, shut my brain off and just lift and just run. And I'm doing that now, and I'm really excited to be in shape again. And I'm taking care of what I'm eating. But I just know it's going to take time, and I'm going to have to go through that process again, and even more than before because I'm bigger than before. Like, it's very uncomfortable being this big, and it's not a great sitting weight. But
December 3rd, 2026, you can be a completely different human being just with that mindset of what you just said, saying, I'm excited to be in shape again. 1 year from now, 365 days from now, you will 100% be a different person if you just keep that mindset. It is so hard to keep it, though, and I get that, to, like, shift away and shift back, because that's what you kind of do a lot when I'm, in that funk, too.
And I have a lot going on. I mean, like, I thought I couldn't afford to. I thought I should say I thought I couldn't afford to go to the gym or to get outside because, one, I was depressed, and two, I thought I was gonna be homeless for like a year, like because the situation with my mom passing was very, very weird, and the money stuff was very, very weird, And now that I'm like back in this space though, like I'm enjoying the prospect of being in the gym when I go.
Where'd you go?
Planet Fitness right now, just because it's affordable and it's near me. I don't want to tell them that.
Okay. Don't go to that. Yeah. Tell me after.
Yeah, but it's it's horrible when I'm in the gym doing it, but it's the same mindset. It's like I'm just putting on music and being like, all right, I'm just gonna do it though. I can't do much either because I'm limited in my mobility, so I'm doing a ton of cardio and a ton of like body weight exercises with lifting and like some squat stuff with a hex bar. Um, but it's
Bars at Planet Fitness.
no, I do that at home.
Oh, you have a hex bar? Oh fuck yeah, I love it. The hex bar is one of my favorites.
I used to box too, so I brought out the old heavy bag and got it all set up, refilled it with like sand.
I watched this guy's story recently, and he's like using boxing to lose weight, and he's like crushing it, probably 100+ pounds down. I love stories like that, dude. I love like the person you just described in the.
Story for you.
Well, no, the people like you in the gym, because I've been that other person too, where I've struggled mentally, and then I put 30, 40 pounds back on, and then I've had to lose it again, and and I've been that person going like, everyone's fucking judging me. People think I'm stupid. People think I'm fat. I'm trying, and I'm really just saying all those. No one's actually saying it to me, but those words are in my head.
Right.
But someone said to me recently. I think someone said this to me recently, or maybe it was a little while ago. But I could just change in my head what everyone else is telling me. Change it to positive. So, like, say you're that person running down the street, and you're, oh, those kids are being mean, or they're judging me for running right now. Like, what if I flipped that to be like, dude, they're all cheering for me. Dude, I'm all running down the street, and they're like, they can't wait to see me the next day and the next week and the next month. Like, and I changed that mindset in my head of what other people think of me. Now all of a sudden, it's this extremely positive, like, pro Frank in my head. Yeah. And you can be, pro Brian.
No, yeah. I mean, for sure. You asked me earlier, and I probably should have said like, yeah, probably a lot of it is in my head. If this is gonna make sense to you though, but like I feel like the moments when it's not in your head, when people are outwardly like judging you, or like you hear something that someone said about your size or the way you look through the grapevine, those are the moments that like really stick with you.
How often has someone said that to you though?
Well, I mean, I haven't really been keeping count, but it's happened for sure.
Someone has called you a term you didn't like about your weight?
Oh yeah. To my face, it's happened.
Who the fuck were they?
I mean, I play music. It happens at shows.
Oh my god, someone called
Yeah.
like, put down the guitar, big guy, like something like.
Yeah. Getting a little sweaty up there, pal? It was like something. No, yeah. But
this, the older I get though, the more I switch and go, man, that person's hurting, man. I hope they get better. Yeah. I hope they'll be all right.
Nobody's I shouldn't say nobody, but pretty much nobody is obese because they want to be.
No one in a good place says that to you. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's not a, and I wouldn't, if I wasn't going to, that's the whole saying. I'm not going to that person for advice. Why would I go to them for criticism? Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it still fucking sucks.
I've found that a lot of the reason why people insult other people, there's a lot of cliches that people will say about it to like make themselves feel better, but there's so many reasons, but at the end of the day, it doesn't come down to the stuff that people say, like, of being jealous, right? Because that never made sense to me. Like, kids would make fun of me, or people would say something to me, and people would say, like, they're jealous. And I'd be like, jealous of what? I'm a horrible person, and I hate myself. And I think what I've found is that the reason why people do that is not because they're jealous, but because it just makes them feel better. The gradient, like the contrast of being like, I'm going to acknowledge that you're fat so that I feel skinny today and I feel good about my body, or anything else. Like, I'm going to acknowledge that I think you're stupid or you made a mistake because I didn't make that mistake today, or I don't want to feel stupid.
I got to be wary of myself when I talk, even if I joke about like making fun of someone with somebody else. I have done a pretty good job of being self-aware, of being like, oh, but why did I kind of like, that might have hurt that person. Why did I do that? Like, where am I at right now and today? Like, because there's days where I go by and someone makes a joke and I don't, like, co-sign that, like, mean joke. And I go, oh, I'm in a good spot today. Like, I must be doing pretty well today because I didn't fucking co-sign their calling somebody, like, retard or something like that. Where I'm like, other days I egg them on too, and I go, yeah, dude, we can go in on that person. Um, it's really like where my mental health is at the moment, I think.
Yeah. It's just, yeah, I mean, it's always a low energy thing to do. Like, I've had some friends who have really built me up. When most of my life, like, I felt pretty broken down about things, about the way I look, whether I've been skinny or fat, because I've been both. And, like,
To love like certain comedians and stuff when they just like roast people, dude. Yes, like, but it's also like there's a comfortability level of like a buddy and me. You know, we're roasting each other back and forth. We kind of know not to cross a certain line, but I've also with one buddy roast each other a bit, and then I have to sometimes be like my bad, bro. Like, I hope you know I don't really feel that way.
I have one buddy who I don't really, like, I don't say a lot of mean things to people, and I don't really worry about it with new people because I'm kind of like, you've seen me in social situations, like out, like I'm kind of shy if I don't know you. Like, I'll be friendly, whatever I am, I guess, but I do have one friend who's close to me who roast each other, but sometimes he just won't be in the mood, not in a bad way, but like, and it'll just be me roasting him, and he won't say something back, and I'm like,
Now you feel so bad.
left me to be just an asshole here, stewing in my own assholery. I think
You either double down or you have to retract, and you're like, ah, shit.
I think something that's made me so much less anxious in like social situations and stuff, because right now is a good time to be anxious about how you treat people and how you're perceived socially, I guess sometimes. The way that I navigate it is just not being anxious about it, like, and kind of just understanding my intent when I say things. Like, you can say, I think it's a two-way street, right? It's like when you, for instance, just like, I don't even remember what you said, but when you acknowledged in a humorous way that like I'm a big guy. Oh, you asked me if it was sad weight. It's like well, it's like, it's that's funny, and I know that you're being nice.
But I've also had said, wait, that's why I'm asking it.
Well, you don't have to explain it to me, because the other part of it is like, I think that too few people are receptive to just like hearing things that are like offensive or not offensive. They're just like, I don't, you get what I'm saying? Like, there's part of it that you can't control. Like, you can't control if you had said that to me and I'd been like, Frank, what, you know what I mean? And I got up and was like yelling at you about it. It's like, you really can't control how people are going to respond to it. So you kind of just got to say what you're going to say with full intention, like knowing the intention. And if that does happen, like, no matter what someone else does to you,
Yeah, totally.
walk away with it with like, well, I know how I meant it, and I can feel bad for that person that like they feel that way, that they were hurt or whatever, but it doesn't serve anything. It doesn't serve anything at all. It's so low energy to worry all the time about like whether you're upsetting someone or not upsetting them, or being interesting or being not interesting, or funny or not funny. It's so exhausting. I've done it for so much of my life. It's just so exhausting.
Also feel when you're saying it, what kind of energy you're putting out. Like when I said the sad way thing, like I don't think I was putting out like the like being mean, being like, is it fucking sad way? You know, like, and then maybe even said another word after it. So
But even the way you just said it just then was also funny, though. I perceived it as funny. Like, I don't know that you could have said it in a way that was not like, I don't know, not humorous and just friendly conversation. I mean, we're focusing on this, and I don't want to focus on it, because the more we talk about that moment, the more it seems like I actually was offended by it. But like, which I wasn't. No, I wasn't. It was funny.
yeah, but like, dude, there's time.
I'm trying to think of like another example. Like,
Dude, when I came off of drugs one time, like I was so sad of the life that I had destroyed. I couldn't exercise for like 6 weeks. I just sat there and ate food, dude. And I put on like 30 fucking pounds in 6 weeks.
it's the worst, man. Sitting around and feeling like you.
Oh, and then you think, and it only gets worse because you're just continuing it into eating.
And it gets harder to get up and do stuff about it because you have more weight and it just hurts.
It's easier to stay skinny than to get skinny. Easier to stay sober than to get sober in my history, right? Like that's one thing that I do always reiterate, like in my head, if I ever think about like, picking up again, is Frank, it's so much easier to stay. So you're sober today. Now think about the trek you're going to have to go through if you got to do it again.
It's such a bottomless pit like addiction, right? Like, I mean, I would say that we're talking about two different things here, but they're kind of cousins to each other, like the food addiction and then addiction to, right. It's like, oh, excuse me. Bastard said it best. I'm sad because I'm hungry, and I'm hungry because I'm sad. I eat. I'm sad because I'm eat, and I eat because I'm sad, or whatever. Like, and it's drugs too. Like I mean, you do it for whatever reason, I guess, but like, you do drugs because you're sad, and then you're sad because you do drugs, and it's just when you get addicted to something, it's just that vicious cycle of like it. You get more and more depressed, and then you cope with it with the thing that you think isn't making you more depressed, but it makes you more depressed.
Yeah, but it's that little hit that you're getting from just
right. And it makes it feel like, oh, I'm going to have this sustained, like this feeling of like eating an entire tub of ice cream right now is going to be sustained, but it's not. It goes away, and you don't even realize it goes away until you're like sitting and stewing in it, and then you're like, oh yeah, it's gone now. I need more.
Dude, it's crazy. All right, so we want to touch on music before we end this?
Sure.
Who's okay? Never mind.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, dude, like Luke Combs. You could be a Luke Combs.
You know what? I talk about weight and stuff. They bring up. I feel flattered by it. They bring up like the big musicians,
Like a Luke Combs.
right? Like Luke Combs or Blues Traveler, or whatever.
Who's the other one? It starts with an R. Everyone loves their country, but they're also not.
Jelly Roll.
No, he's not big anymore. We got theories about him.
He's gone now.
Yeah, he was kicked out for being skinny.
Yeah.
No, God, dude, just keep.
Morgan Wallen.
I said earlier, I'm not a big fan.
Okay.
Also, that's another song. When I broke up with my one ex, that one song came out. It was like his huge hit.
Whiskey Goggles or something.
No. I think Love something. I don't know. So I just can
I
never
don't really know any of his songs. I know him for almost giving brain damage to a cop by throwing a chair out of a bar or something.
Yeah. No, I just not. Nothing really hits when I listen to Morgan Wallen. So
yeah, but so I was saying, like, when people compare like the big guys, it. I take it as a huge compliment, but also like
Rascal Flatts. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, okay.
That guy.
I think about them, and I don't think I sound like any of them. Like.
No, I think it's the look is what they're saying.
Yeah. Exactly.
yeah.
Like when I had a.
You can do it too. You know, that's what they're saying,
Exactly.
dude.
People do that because I would describe like, sometimes I feel sad about like I don't really date. Like, and I'll be like, I'm sad, man. I wish I could just meet a girl who's like nice to me and likes me and like, and whatever.
That's all men want. Just be kind. The one thing that always stands out in a woman is if they were kind to me.
Yeah.
Not like they can be, you can do physical attraction and all these things, but if they were kind, every man will go, oh.
Yeah.
Just be kind.
Yeah. So many people are mean to you throughout your day as a dude. Yeah.
But if a pretty girl is nice to you, you go, that made my fucking year.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I had one of those from 2025. Great. I remember it like it was yesterday. I ride that high still.
Yeah. Isn't it nuts? If just a
Yeah.
pretty girl is nice to you in your day, you just, whatever it is, like that's just what men want, is a pretty girl to be nice.
Yeah.
Now, of course, men are, men too, but
But anytime I'll bring that up, people are like, well, I know this big fat dude who dates and who is out there and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm sorry, but I'm just like, nah, I guess I'm not as cool as that guy. You know what I mean? Like, now you're making me
help you or something. They want you.
Yeah. They compare like, man, I wish I could meet somebody, go out on like a good date or something. And they're like, his buddy named Randy, he's 600 pounds and he sees a new girl every week. He's on Tinder and all that. And it's like, dude, well, thanks, man. I already felt bad about my size. Now you're telling me it's not that I'm big. It's just that I suck. You know what I mean? I'm just a horrible person, I guess. No, but it's like, I mean, it's whatever. Like, I understand it. Like, Everybody's just trying to help. People are always trying to help you. People are always there's some people who are mean, who just have it born into them. But like, I have a lot of people around me who are always trying to help. So I have one buddy in particular who says that to me all the time. Like, how about this guy? How about like he's a country guy, so he'll bring up Luke Combs and he'll be like, Luke Combs is dating his smoking hot wife, and I'm like, it's great for Luke Combs, man. I don't know what you want me to do. Like, you know.
But I guess most musicians are. You don't have too many examples of a Luca. Meatloaf, bro. Meatloaf?
Don't even get me started on Meatloaf.
You don't like Meatloaf?
The food I hate, but
I'm talking about the musician, bro.
I know. The artist is well, I thought we were still, doing the fat thing. I don't know. Yeah. No, I'm kidding.
In Meatloaf, I thought food. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. My mind went to peppering up some ground hamburger. No, I'm kidding. No, Meatloaf has good music. I knew a guy.
They don't make music like that anymore. Yeah. Just like you'll never hear scenes from an Italian restaurant. You won't hear that kind of song be mainstream anymore. Like a Billy Joel. Yeah. The song scenes from an Italian restaurant. Yeah. Absolutely. That's the type of song that I love to just listen to every few months because of how it just changes, right? Yeah. It starts out as this nice song and then it like builds up, then the saxophones come in. And then it all of a sudden swaps over to Brendan Ed. He was a populous head. He's the king and the queen at the brown dun dun. And then it goes right back into this like classic I love it.
Music was so unafraid to be weird and strange.
Well, even like you're not gonna hear like, and I know this is mainstream, like a Dave Matthews. You're not gonna hear like that. Have trumpets in there, and even like ska was like having like those different.
Ska is such a weird genre, dude.
Yeah, but like Mighty Mighty Ballstones and Real Big Fish and stuff like that. Yeah, dude, I saw them a few years ago too. Like they were fun to listen to.
I mess with Less Than Jake for sure.
Yeah, but like stuff like that, like you're not hearing that anymore. That's why you should listen to Sierra Farrell, dude. She doesn't care, and she's 100% number one person you should listen to is Sierra Farrell. Absolutely. I will send you a few of the songs like American Dreamin', Fox Hunt is so fun because she's a fiddle player. She's just like Fox Hunt is so much fun. But then like her whole last album was so good. Yeah. So, but people are unafraid to do. So maybe get unafraid. Do some music that makes you like what would you do that's not that you would be afraid to do? Want to do something? Yeah, go ahead.
Something I want to do that. I honestly think my whole kind of take on what I want to do with my career in music is kind of not the norm anymore. I think everybody is so obsessed with like making it to the big cities like Nashville and New York and just becoming famous, being beautiful, being able to get up on stage and attract people and doing the least bit of work you can, like having AI write songs for you, having other people write songs for you that you just perform. I do think now the reason, like, if I'm talking to you about marketing, my music, right? Just a dream. All I can do is dream that in the next 5 to 10 years, I feel like there's going to be a big return to live music and I feel like people are craving even right now a return to the kind of like really heartfelt, genuine, authentic music that came out in the 90s and the 80s and in the 2000s even, as I perceive it. And for me, it feels really novel. I haven't done much. I'm not like a big artist who's playing arenas. I'm very much at the beginning of my music journey. But I see myself as standing out because I don't want to ever give a shit about the money or about whether people know who I am or know about me. I just want to give a shit about, do people feel good when they listen, or do they feel something when they listen to my music? Do they feel sad or bad or good or want to dance or want to lay down and just close their eyes? Like, I think that's novel. I think a lot of the musicians today, they sort of talk back their music. Like they'll sit in a studio and they'll be with a round table of writers that cook up music all together, like 5 people. That's how a lot of country music at least works or whatever. and or pop music. They'll like 5 people get in a room with a producer and they'll cook up a song, and like they'll get session players to come in, and I want to bring back like sort of the Jesse Wells of it all is one of my favorite artists right now, and the Noah Khan, and the like these guys that I perceive as like music is coming right out of their heart onto paper for you, and all the accolades and stuff come later. Like I think that I see these guys and I'm like, that's the class that I want to be considered in if I'm an artist in my old age. When all said and done, I would love to be in the collection of people who are bringing back that authenticity and that lack of almost like an innocence, bringing it to music, like an innocence of just that I want to make people feel something and to offer them something that was hard for me to do. Body's the spirit of how I want to honor my mom and honor the people who have helped me in my life, and also just honor myself too. Like I feel so much myself and authentic when I'm able to write a poignant lyric or something that I feel like is gonna. It was a really long-winded answer to probably what should have been a simple question, but I think that's what scares me, honestly. I'm scared about this whole thing. Every day, every time I get out and I am getting ready to play music for people, I get so scared that they're not going to care, that it's not going to help them, and that I'm going to write a bunch of songs and maybe spend all this money and record the music, and there isn't going to be that craving for someone to connect with you in that way and sort of be like really vulnerable in their music. So I don't know. Maybe every artist would say that they're trying to do that right now, regardless what genre they're in. But I mean, that's what I see as the scariest thing and the most uncomfortable thing, is that like to make music that has weird sounds in it, like that has a concept to an album. You know, I want to be like Pink Floyd writing The Wall, including, you know, some spoken word, or Black Flag, including some spoken word and some poetry that's in the middle of this greater story you're telling. And there's a real chance people are going to hate that and think that I'm bad at music for it.
Then you should do country. Because they do the spoken word still. Yeah. Like that one Ella Langley. Like I saw her in an interview recently where she is kind of cool. I think her stage presence sucks, but I like her. But she talked about the reason that because the big hit song that she, of course, made her who she like super famous, everyone knew her, is "You Look Like You Love Me." You know that song? But she does the spoken word, right? Yeah. So the whole, you know, she's not even singing for most of that song, right? It's, you know, walked into a bar, saw a man, went up to him, talked to him, you know?
Oh, but I don't mean to cut you off, but that's not even
the spoken word that you're talking about.
Yeah. Like I know that people do that. I'm aware of. There's that other country musician, I think, who's like, "I could have called you up. I didn't know your name. I should have known your name. I went into the bar and I drank." Who's that guy? He's a great singer. He was more like 2010s. I can't remember his name, but there's like a lot of people who like just talk. Like Jake Owen is right?
No, Jake Owen's Barefoot Blue Jean, right? Isn't he?
But he has that song. He does that cover of Jack and Diane, and he like just talks for most of it, right?
Jake Owens doesn't have that many hits, but
he doesn't. He has the one. You got the hotel key. Yeah, that one. Yeah,
and he's no Barefoot Blue Jean.
Yeah, I'm not talking about just talking over it. Like with Black Flag, they're doing like a spoken word poetry thing. Like it's like have you ever seen like slam poetry?
Is that what you're thinking about doing?
Sort of, yeah. I mean, that's sort of like the vibe of what I like.
You slam yourself or slam others?
Slam all of it. Yeah. I'm just gonna slam everything.
That's what you should switch up to, dude.
No, but sort of what I mean is like poetry. When I was in college. I studied. I read a lot of poetry, and I did it for classes and stuff. And I would say that poetry is like good is typically meant to be delivered in a certain way. Does that make sense? When you read it out loud.
It makes sense.
Like there's some poetry that you're not supposed to read out loud. But if you ever heard somebody do like a dramatic reading of poetry, they're like doing it differently than just like, I walked over to the bar and someone said to me, do, 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 do. You know, like, do you get what I'm getting at? Like, have you ever heard Black Flag spoken word stuff?
I mean, I know Black Flag is. I know who Henry Rollins is, but I don't know if I've listened to him now.
He was the second leader of Black Flag, the second lead singer of Black Flag.
That sounded bad. He's the second leader of Black Flag. Like he's some protest group.
Yeah. I'll have to, Family Man. If you want to sort of get an idea of what I'm talking about, it's like the stuff off of Family Man or like
The movie? Oh, that's the album?
yeah,
Oh,
Black Flag. Family
yeah.
Man.
Okay.
I mean, that's not like a staple of my music. Like I'm not saying listen to my music and you're gonna hear me like just talk over it, but I'm saying like that kind of stuff, like the weird sound effects that you'll hear in like Radiohead songs that you're like, what is that? Is that the sound of like a door opening in a shopping center? And it is, because that's what like sound that that's the soin that they sampled. That's the that's the sound that they sampled. Like that kind of stuff. Like I want to be really creative with music and not just like.
Yeah. Okay.
You know.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Use weird noises, environmental sounds, stuff like that if I can. Talk right now because I only have one song out, and it's yeah. I only have one song released. And huh? Hopefully I do. I feel like a loser sometimes being 27 and.
I love when people say that because then I like to go through the history of people who didn't make it till 42 or 64. I don't think Winston Churchill actually made his accolades until starting at the age of 64. Like he was right, he had a life and whatnot, but I don't think there's people like that you go, oh, these people didn't make it. Easier to make it in your youth. If you do that, you burn out quick. Like it's almost better that you don't make it for another year or 2 or 10. Like
a medium once told me. I
had a meet. Did you listen to the medium I had on here?
No.
Oh, listen to Amanda Boynet. Listen to that when she came on. It's awesome.
Okay.
Dude, Psychic Medium came on here.
I don't believe in stuff like that, but they freak me out. Well, she talked about stuff that everybody says this, I feel like, when they talk to medium. She mentioned some things in my life, in my past, that nobody else would have, like, that are like secrets.
Yeah, dude, the woman did it on the podcast.
Yeah. Wild stuff. But she did that. She would talk about things that like nobody knew about me, that like I do not project outwardly. And then, but something she said to me though was what you just said, was that she sees that like I'm probably a little bit of a late bloomer, and that when I find success in my life, it's going to be like probably in my 30s. And I'm clinging to that. I'm clinging to like right now is the time when I get geared up. And then maybe by next year, I have some lofty goals that sound crazy to people, but like within the next year, like I want to play like a big festival. Like I want to.
Oh, that's doable.
I want to record. And like over months, edit the sound and get it right and get the songs like really cool. And I would love to play like a big festival within the year. You know, my dream is to be on tour. Some people hate the idea of it, but I love the idea. I want to sleep in a van some nights. I want to be on a bus, and I just want to be constantly working on like providing music for people. I can't wait for that moment in my life, for that to be my day job and my night job and everything in between.
Let's wrap it up there.
Okay.
Sweet. Thanks for doing this, man.
No problem.
This is fun. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Did I talk too much? I feel like I got really into the conversation and I was like, I don't know. You're right.